I haven't used my voice today. Testing 1, 2, 3. I feel like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Testing his voice in the morning. Vocal check. I better not do that. I just saw this on Twitter just now. Let me see what this is all about. I think this might be funny. Let's rewind.
God created the universe. Some people think nothing created the universe.
I don't.
Which is the funniest guess. And the nothing people make fun of the God people. They say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing. That's the defining characteristic of nothing, is that it doesn't exist. So what are we talking about? Either you think it's God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or you think it's nothing, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree, if your nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything, that's a magical fucking nothing, you guys.
Who believes that?
And ask the nothing people, what happens when you die? They'll tell you, nothing. You go into nothing.
Nobody says that.
You mean you merge back with your...
That's, if they say that, that's not what they mean. They don't mean literally nothing. You become plant food. Haven't you ever heard that?
Creator? I'm like, you mean you merge back with your creator?
Yeah.
That's heavy.
That's nature. See, okay, I got to call some people out here. Oh, I'm going to be really rude here. But in a good way, in a good, loving way. These are some people I follow on Twitter just for the fun of it. Tim Stratton says, if William Lane Craig was a comedian and cussed, J.R. Klein, haha, I sent this to you on Instagram. If you guys think this is representative of what people actually believe, like even Lawrence Krauss, he'll use the word nothing, but that's not what he means. I mean, he doesn't mean what rocks think of. If this is what you think, Tim Stratton, that people unlike you, like let's say atheists, believe this, you are stupid with 2 O's. I gotta show my face when I say it. You're stupid with 2 O's. Same with you, J.R. Klein. There, that's a good way to start the day. That was fun. I say that the universe, the cosmos, is probably eternal past. Not our reality, not our universe, small u, but big U, cosmos, big C. We don't know exactly, but it makes more sense to me. It's more reasonable to say that something material has always existed, eternal past, than something supernatural, non-immaterial, whatever that is, introducing a new category of existence has always existed, and especially as a bodiless mind. That's all. Easy. Okay, I got to make the link here in order to call in. I love it when people disagree with me, so you can call in and disagree with me about anything. Are there topics I don't want to talk about? There's probably a few that bore me to tears. And I'll let you know. Let's see. Do I know any off the top of my head that I don't want to talk? I prefer not to talk about veganism. I'm okay with killing animals. There. That's all that needs to be said. So veganism, not so much. I might talk to a vegan for 2 minutes, but I'm okay with being a murderer and a raper of animals. I love it. I love letting certain people know that what they think triggers me doesn't trigger me. Any other topics I don't want to discuss? Pantheism is always a terrible, terrible thing. You guys believe in nothing and everything at the same time. I do not like pantheists. Do not like vegans. Who do we got here? That was quick.
What's up, Doug?
Hi, you're the Christ?
No, Christ is the truth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
You shouldn't be driving and talking, but anyhow, I'll talk to you.
So, isn't that true that that guy said that the things come from nothing?
I don't believe that. No.
Okay, so eternity past. But you saying cosmos is not different than saying universe or our universe.
Correct. They're different.
No, no, it's not different. It's the same thing.
I disagree with you respectfully.
Okay.
Now what?
So no, I'm just wondering how you think. Do you think there's a place? It's interesting because do you think there's a place that natural processes don't take place?
No.
All right, so then everything kind of expands, whether or not you're in a different cosmos or not. So if something's expanding, then it started from one point, right? So everything, whether or not it's cosmos or universe, started from one point, right?
No. We don't know that.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. All right, whatever. Have you ever heard of Our Lady of Zaytun?
Who's our?
Well, when we say Our Lady in the church, we're talking about the Mother
Oh,
Mary
you're
appearing.
you're a Catholic. Okay, gotcha. I was wondering what you meant
Yeah,
by
yeah.
our. Okay, so you
Yeah, I'm a Catholic Christian, so I just wanted to know if you ever heard of Our Lady of Zaytun, Egypt.
no, Zaytun? It's a great name.
You can spell it Zeitoun.
Mouse.
And
What
if you
about
just
what about her?
if you Google it, you can
Okay.
see something that happened there. And I'd just like to know what you think about that as someone who doesn't really believe in God, or I don't know
Lady
if you're
of
open to it,
Lady of
but
Zaytun. Oh, I found it.
yeah,
1968. That's the one. Cairo, Egypt.
yeah,
An apparition of the Virgin Mary.
correct. And
So let me guess. A bunch of people saw an apparition of the Virgin Mary.
have you ever seen that before? Yeah, it's there was many people from Muslims and Christians running to that church, and the authorities got involved and actually had investigations done,
Okay. Okay.
and they
I'm gonna be. I don't dislike you. I don't hate you. I don't even want you to leave Roman Catholicism. You're probably a good guy. You probably are even a father, or maybe a good son. I don't know. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this is nothing but bullshit.
for real. So what do you think happened though?
I think people, when they're in, if they're primed in a certain way, it's like those hypnotists. You know those hypnotists that go in Vegas and
Yeah,
people go on stage and they're
Chris Angel or David Blaine.
yeah, they're primed in front of an audience or in a group of people to behave in certain ways. And there's definitely things that people see that they can't explain in the sky or that looks like something in the sky, but it's really just the sky,
Uh huh.
like clouds.
Okay. Um.
And I noticed there's no video of this.
Yeah. I'm not sure how advanced it was back then, so that's before my age, but um okay. Well, I mean, that's your opinion. So
Yep.
that's probably your first time seeing it. Is that your first time seeing it?
Oh, I've seen stuff like that, like the Fatima, whatever.
Yeah,
It,
Fatima. Have you seen that specific one before though?
maybe, but I don't remember.
Okay, well if you don't remember then probably you never read about it. So there's been
What's your first name?
um was that
What's your first name?
Christian?
Oh, it is. Oh, Christian. Yeah. Okay, Christian. I'll tell you the truth. Nothing like that or similar to that is going to convince a guy like me. What you need to do is raise the dead in the name of Jesus and announce it ahead of time. This is what we're going to do so we can verify it.
Yeah.
That will
Well,
change my mind.
if I did that and then I raised from the dead myself, I would have 3 billion people who claim to follow me.
No, you could do it. Well, if you did
If
it
I did
yourself,
that, right?
if you
How
did
many
it
people
as
do
a
you think
dead
would follow
person,
me though? Do you think it would cause like a revolution, and then the strongest empire in the history of existence would accept the religion?
It depends what else you
Do you
can
think
do.
do you think that's what would happen? Because I would say if a guy died on the cross and he rose on the third day,
Yeah, go on. And we lost him. If a guy died and then raised himself back from the dead, it depends what else he can do, whether or not he's going to have a huge following. If that's all he can do, if he's a one-trick pony, he's not going to get that big of a following. But let's say he could do stuff like go up to Netanyahu and say, I have the power to raise up all the Hamas fighters right now. I can literally raise them off the ground from all over the world. Anybody who is a fighter for Hamas or supports Hamas, I can lift them up off the soil, put them about 100 meters above sea level. Oh, I'm American now. Sorry, 100 yards above sea level. Put them all in a big pile and drop them in a certain field in the desert, and then you can nuke them. I can do that, and just pay me $1 billion. Now that's power. That's power I can respect. But if all you can do is raise yourself from the dead, Well, that was fun. Anybody can call in. Link on the top of the live stream chat. If you're watching via mobile, you have to make sure you can see the live stream chat. Then if you look up, you can see the link and you press it. I did not, someone mentioned a debate between Matt Dillahunty and the Crucible. I did not see that. Which has a better ethical foundation? That's just such a matter of opinion. Better. You got to define certain, I mean, so subjective. Of course the Christian's going to say mine's better because right and wrong is defined by God, so it's better by definition. Done. That's what I would say if I was the Crucible. And then if I was mad, then I would poke holes in that. Okay, who do we got next? Oh, good. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad you're here.
Hello.
Because I think we could have a good...
I woke up 7 minutes ago.
Oh, excellent. I got you on the ropes already. Your voice is working.
Like, let's start the day. I know. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear. You're looking good.
I try. Well, not as good as you, as always. This is...
I'm going to ask you. Let's talk very controversial today.
I was hoping. I'm like, I want to wake up, jump right into it.
Can I ask you a question?
I've got something
that a lot of people are going to be shocked that I'm simply even asking it. Okay.
Okay.
This question I'm about to ask you, people are going to be shocked that I'm even asking it.
Okay.
But I want you to articulate an answer as best you can.
Okay.
In your own words, tell me what is so bad about genocide.
Good Sunday morning. What is so bad about genocide?
Yeah, articulate your answer.
Well, to me, that's like asking what's bad. What is the difference between right and wrong? Genocide is like the archetypal example of
okay.
Bad,
what
evil,
about
right?
Genocide is wrong? Makes it wrong. You're struggling already?
Well, it's not often I'm asked to
simple
justify.
Questions like this, is it?
Yeah, right. It's like
I asked this question about racism.
Like
and people get stumped. It's amazing to me. It brings me a huge dopamine rush when I ask questions like, why is racism bad? Tell me, articulate your answer.
Well, genocide is bad because it involves the mass killing of innocent people.
Okay, stop there.
What's the next question? Go ahead.
Why is that bad?
This is just apologetics, isn't this?
Yeah, I want you to defend why the mass killing of people is bad.
I see. All right. I see. Let me break out of this linguistic trap you think you've set. Why is suffering bad?
Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, I'll be fair and I'll answer. Because it makes people feel
Okay.
bad.
Because it makes people feel bad.
Yeah.
Well, not calling not calling a non-binary person Zim and Zur makes them feel bad. Would you
Yes.
say not calling a non-binary person Zim and Zur is bad?
No. Some suffering is okay in my mind, and we all differ on the degree of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about genocide, not suffering, because it is possible to kill people without having them suffer. So let me ask you again. Why is
that's true.
genocide bad?
Because of the consequences that spin off from it. So if let's say you nuke a place and incinerate everyone instantly, which I believe is that what you were saying right before I got on? Okay. They all go away.
No, I didn't say that, but yeah, that would be a great example of killing without suffering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone was incinerated instantly,
yeah,
to them, like if right now a nuke dropped and I had no prior warning, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So arguably it's not bad for me, but I would like to think it'd be bad for the people that love me, however few of them exist.
There you go.
But then all of the consequences of, okay, well, hey, Group A nuked Group B, and Group B, there's a lot of Group B all over the planet, not just the place that got nuked or whatever. So now you have an entire conflict that spins on top of that, which multiplies and so on and so forth.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, that's. I would answer differently. If you were to ask me the same question, Doug, why is genocide bad? I would say because people don't want to die. Isn't that a very good, simple answer?
Well, but the point about like not calling a non-binary person Zim and Zur, it's like, well, some suffering is good, and who is the arbiter of what is good and not good suffering?
We are.
And who's the arbiter of whether or not some people die?
We are humans.
True. Is it might makes right?
Might doesn't make right, but might makes what's going to happen.
That's true. And so any moral system must be commensurate with might. Right? I don't.
Well,
I think a true pacifist moral system would get competed in the long, wouldn't it?
Here's where I'm going with this question, and this is because I've heard you talk about the Hamas thing often. When you have a group of people who actually desire to die for the sake of Allah, they want it because they
their Messiah.
Or their Messiah. Christians, yes, certain Christian sects, same thing.
And radical Jewish supremacists.
Yes, exactly.
The ones trying to rebuild the Temple Mount.
We need to make more people atheists. When it comes to war, I agree.
Listen, we need to make more people cultural Christians.
You know the scene from Inglourious Bastards, the Bear Jew scene? There's a Nazi.
I know the Bear Jew. It doesn't come immediately to mind, but I have seen it, and I know the Bear Jew.
Brad Pitt's character wants to know the location of certain Nazis, and they captured a Nazi.
Right. And the big guy comes out of the cave.
He said, point to the map where the Nazis are hiding. And he says, I respectfully refuse. And, well, if you refuse, the Bear Jew is going to come with his bat. He's going to bash your brains in. And he goes, F you. I'm not going to tell you. And Brad Pitt's character looks at the Bear Jew and says, we got a Nazi here who wants to die for country. Oblige him. This is how I view Hamas. They want to die for country.
Rightfully so.
And I would say to Israel, oblige them. What do you say to that?
I think.
And isn't it interesting that Hamas and the Nazis are basically the same people in this analogy?
True, and obviously I've said Israel should burn alive every Hamas terrorist that is in their territory, and do more as far as I'm concerned. If someone came into their territory and killing their citizens, they forfeited their life. By all means, oblige them. Obviously, the issue is,
and they forfeited the lives of the people around them that they're using as shields.
Well, that is Hamas' justification for attacking Israel. Israel elected Netanyahu. Netanyahu's a mobster and a war criminal, in my opinion. Netanyahu propped up Hamas, right?
Well, You propped up Hamas. I propped up Hamas through our tax dollars. Anytime aid is going into...
I agree. Yeah, you want to
So
talk
you got to
about
be
the
very
Israel lobby.
careful.
That's
you gotta,
fine.
You got to be
Yes.
very careful. Now, if you were saying that Netanyahu is a little different in the degree of propping up, I'm not sure about that. And I've heard reports
Okay.
of that.
Well, okay. Well, that's an important fact because people say, well, how do we? The problem here is Hamas, which of course, no shit. Hamas is axiomatically martyrdom psychos, right?
Yep.
I mean, not psychopaths clinically, but
I call them retarded.
effectively. I don't use the R word. I promised my cousin when I was young that I would not use the R word because I have a second cousin who has Down syndrome. So
I had a first cousin with Down syndrome, and I have no problems using the R word because clinically
that's fair.
Yeah.
I just have a higher
it has
moral
meaning.
Power, that's fine.
And his parents were first cousins, and that's
okay. Well, separate issue.
Not a separate issue.
I would bet World War III.
Anywhere from 1/3 to 2/3 of Hamas fighters, their parents are first cousins, or their grandparents are first cousins. But
that's possible. That's possible.
Go ahead.
That's possible. I have several solutions on the table here. Okay, and I guess I'll get your thoughts. My overall perspective is yes, Hamas, disgusting, radical jihadists, axiomatic insanity. You can't really negotiate with them, I don't think.
I agree.
And they are a significant proportion of Gaza.
50%.
Or at least they're in charge. Yes, as of 2006, right, when they got voted in.
Let's assume it's still 50%.
You
think it's more or less?
That, but I think it's the polls prior to October 7th. I believe like 60% of Gazans said they don't support Hamas. They'd rather have a different group. And that's taking into account that they can get in trouble for saying that because Hamas will kill them. Now, I had this very caricatured version of Gaza of like Hamas is running this, theocratic fascist state. There are Christian churches in Gaza. There are Baptist hospitals and whatnot. It's like, okay, that doesn't make much sense to me. It's like, I could be wrong. I do not believe in the ISIS caliphate there were allowed to be church services. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, I could be wrong.
But I'll get to the solution because I'm anxious to hear your solution.
Yeah. Here's one solution. There's the practical solution, and then there's the bring the Jews home solution, which is my preferred solution. And I'll get to that in a second. The practical solution is let's cut off all aid to Israel until they oust Benjamin Netanyahu. Because Benjamin Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Because Benjamin Netanyahu's part of the reason Hamas is.
But you know why? Okay, let's assume worst case scenario that everything you're saying about that's true. Why do you think he did that?
Because he is I believe he is sympathetic to messianic activism.
Okay, so what?
There is a sect of here's why. This is my claim. It's not in quantity or scale, obviously, but in quality. Radical Judaism is as disgusting as radical Islam.
Okay, but let's
Adolf Hitler. Hold on. Let me expand on this. Adolf Hitler obviously killed far more people than Ted Bundy. But if you ask me who's more evil, Ted Bundy or Adolf Hitler, I'd say that's kind of a weird question. So Itamar Ben-Gvir, who's the Minister of National Security in Israel. I did not know this until 2 weeks ago, and it really bothered me. Itamar Ben-Gvir, Minister of National Security, up until 2 years ago, had a picture of Baruch Goldstein in his living room.
We're now talking about other stuff that has. I want to stay focused.
No, it's not. Hold on. Let me make this is all relevant. Because if I'm going to say something like radical Judaism is as disgusting as radical Islam, I better back it up.
But that's whataboutism. We're talking about Hamas right now.
No, it's not. Hold on. Let me just point. This is the current Minister of National Security has Ben-Gvir, Ben-G-V-I-R. Everyone watching can look it up right now. Had a picture of Baruch Goldstein in his living room. Baruch Goldstein is a Jewish supremacist mass shooter who killed 29 Palestinians in 1994. And the current Minister of National Security says Baruch Goldstein is a national hero. That is who is in charge at least some. He is part of a coalition government with Netanyahu.
Okay, but what's
So
the relevance to all this?
Netanyahu-
Get to the point.
Netanyahu is in a coalition government with an extremist Jewish supremacist religious fundamentalist faction whose goal is to bring about the Messiah and end the world, which is as insane.
Get to the point.
As
Why
radical
is any
Islam.
of that relevant or bad?
So fuck Netanyahu. If you want to get, if you agree
Okay.
Hamas is radical jihadist and they need to be gotten rid of because they have an axiomatic commitment to death, I
Yeah.
would say the same thing for the messianic activists who say we are going to usher in our Messiah and destroy the world in
Okay,
the process because that's what our Bible
But
told us.
let me see if I can steelman you. You're basically saying
Please.
Hamas bad, Netanyahu bad.
Basically,
That's
Netanyahu. No. Hamas. Hold on. Well, I just got gaslit. This is why I shouldn't do this in the morning. You said I'll steelman you. I laid out this argument, and then you go, "Let me steelman you." Hamas bad. Netanyahu
but that's
bad.
basically
It's
what
not
you're
steelman.
saying. Hamas is bad, but Netanyahu's. You can even say Netanyahu's the worst. Let me ask you this, okay?
I'll put it in one sentence. Wait, no. I'm going to steelman myself because you didn't just steal. Let me put it in one sentence.
Okay, one sentence.
Hamas has an axiomatic commitment to death.
Okay.
The Jewish supremacists trying to rebuild the Temple Mount and usher in the Messiah have an axiomatic commitment to apocalypse. They're both extremists, and if you ally with either of them, you're a problem.
Okay, but could you, if I forced you by gunpoint to choose to ally with one over another, which one would you ally with? It's not a hard question, really.
Which one would I ally with?
Yeah.
I
Come on now.
the mass shooter sympathizers. I don't know. It's like asking. Hold on. I don't know because
You do know.
You don't know how bad the insanity of the radical Jewish supremacist part of this is. Do you know who Ben Gvir is? Ben Gvir. The answer is no, right? And here's why you don't know this. Do you know who Mehdi Hassan is on MSNBC?
This is all irrelevant. Because your whole argument is the rulers, the leaders of the Israel defense, whatever, are bad.
No, not all of them.
Okay.
And actually not most of them. Most Israelis are secular, and most Israelis hate Netanyahu. So let's enforce democracy the old American way and hold a country hostage until they get rid of their leader.
What good would that do?
Bullshit. Number one, it would take the take the steam out of the messianic activism in Israel.
Okay, but so
where they
what?
are attempting to
What good would that
assume
do?
that I'm getting to the so what. Okay, one of the operation on October 7th. Do you know what it was called?
October 7th?
Yeah, the
By Hamas?
terrorist attack. Yeah, when they killed all the civilians.
Operation Allah kills Jews. I don't know.
No, it was called Al-Aqsa Flood. Do you know what Al-Aqsa is?
No. Where are we going with this?
Al-Aqsa is where the Dome of the Rock is. You know the Dome of the Rock in
Yes.
Jerusalem,
Yes.
right? It's the third holiest site in Islam.
Okay.
Okay? In order for the Jews, the radical Jewish supremacists, to usher in their Messiah, they have to destroy Al-Aqsa temple or mosque and the Dome of the Rock. That's like saying, in order for our religious death cult prophecy to be fulfilled, we have to destroy Mecca. So
Okay.
if someone's religion requires them to wipe out the holiest site of another religion, then they are both axiomatically insane to me, and I want nothing to do with them.
So
Now, there's also, of course, plenty of Jews who don't even believe that the state of Israel should exist because it's a blasphemy. So it has nothing to do with Judaism as a whole. It has to do with the particular theological strain that has allied itself with power.
So you're saying Netanyahu and company are bad because they want to get rid of a structure that's important to other people.
You
All right, aren't I good at this?
You're gaslighting. You're
I'm not
gaslighting.
gaslighting. I'm just rephrasing exactly what
gaslighting.
you're saying, but in a very simple way.
You.
We got a
I'm gonna
choice
throw the
between
word
people who
gaslighting out
want to
much
kill
more
other
generously.
people and people who want to kill a structure.
Well, hold on. Of course, it's like this. It's like the rabid dog versus the person who lets loose the rabid dog. Who's worse? The rabid dog are the jihadists who, from birth, our goal is to kill other people, right? Like that's a rabid dog.
Mm-hmm.
From birth, our goal, in order to go to heaven, we have to murder other people. Rabid dog. Okay, then you have the people who supposedly are of sounder mind, who have the rabid dog in a cage and they let the dog out. Well, who's at fault there? Is it the rabid dog or the person who let it out?
Person who let it out.
So right. And that's what I view Israel. That's what I view the messianic activists in Israel doing.
Do you realize what you just said? You're
did I
viewing
say?
Hamas and the people who support them as rabid dogs, and the Israelis as the more.
I view Hamas as rabid dog.
And the people who support them, you would have to say.
Sure, I suppose. Maybe.
And you're viewing Israel as the
I don't believe
gatekeeper who lets
do
the
you
rabid
believe-
dogs
do you
out.
believe-
I actually
not
agree
view
with
Israel.
you. I agree with you, but I'm just
I view
putting
the
back what you're saying.
I view the messianic activists in Israel. Okay, the people who are my favorite people. Listen, nobody loves Jews more than I do. Okay, and my favorite people are the secular Israelis. Secular Israelis are the key to this entire equation here. And I think that's what, 70% of Israel?
Well, 20%
If
are
secular
atheists.
Israelis, what is it?
20% of Israel are comprised of atheists.
20% self-identify as Israel? Okay.
As atheists
then-
in Israel, yeah.
I guess you have like the Creasters or whatever the equivalent of. What's the equivalent of a Jew? What's a Jewish Creaster called? Who
I
only
don't
go to church on Christian or like, okay, whatever they are. But Netanyahu was overwhelmingly unpopular. So let's call it the left-wing Israelis, but you don't like left-wing.
I still don't
what you
know
wanna say.
why you're
Second.
so against Netanyahu. If you have, let's say you're married
You
and
haven't
have kids.
seen what I've seen regarding Ben Gvir. I think you are not in possession of the facts. It's like imagine to me this is like arguing with someone who didn't know that Hamas has in its charter we need to wipe out Israel. I can't
I know
honestly
that,
have an
yeah.
argument about. But you don't know who Ben Gvir is. You don't know who the far right government.
Tell
in
me
Israel
why
is.
that matters.
Because
he's an extremist, you would say.
yeah,
An extremist
exactly
who wants
the
to
same
kill a
reason it
structure.
matters. No, who wants to deport Arabs from his country? Who says that my rights as a Jew matter more than the rights of the Arabs in the West Bank?
Okay,
Explicitly
is
verbatim.
he winning on
My
that
rights
thought?
as a Jew matter more.
There's more.
He's the Minister of National Security.
What percentage? What percentage of Israel have
government.
Arabs in it right now? Jews are Arabs.
What percentage of Israel?
Yeah.
Well, 100%. If it's Israel, if there's one Israel, and
Okay, but
Arabs in
even
one Israel.
non-Jewish Arabs, what percent are in Israel? It's greater than zero. What percent of Jews, other than the army right now, are in Palestine? What percent of Jews, other than the army right now, are in Palestine, Gaza Strip? Israel's
they're
way more
outside of it,
tolerant of
blocking
Muslims than the other way around. Would you disagree?
See, okay, I thought that was true. Then I learned that there were Baptist hospitals and Christian churches in Gaza. I didn't know that. I was under this caricatured impression that Gaza's this ISIS caliphate.
Yeah,
that
but
beheads
they're
Christians.
Christian. Baptists are Christians, not Jews.
Okay.
How many Jewish hospitals are in Gaza?
Probably none.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you're
I don't know, actually.
You're bringing this caricature that I can concede to you
referring to
everything you're
non-Muslims.
saying and still say so what? Because it's
Well,
not it's not the Israeli
asked me-
Jewish extremists that are bombing into Gaza.
Yes, they're killing.
As
They're the ones killing the Palestinians in the West Bank.
but as retribution, as deterrence, as you did this to us. Right?
Okay, that's exactly what Hamas's justification is.
I know, and this is all goes.
October 7th was
It becomes a
retribution.
chicken and egg argument, and then
Of course.
yeah.
Yes. And I do not believe that history started on October 7th.
Okay,
And I do not believe that Israel is completely clean of all of everything here.
Okay, fair enough. But this is where I would come down on this. It doesn't matter at this point.
You're right. So here's my bring the Jews home solution. Okay, here's my solution.
Okay, back to the solution.
There's only two options here. It seems like there's only two options. Either Gaza gets wiped out, and everyone gets deported, or worse.
No country wants
them. Reaction from the Arab world, right? And that, or Israel gets dissolved, which is unlikely. So I have a better idea. It's called Bring the Jews Home. Let's dissolve Israel, but every single one of them gets citizenship here in the United States. That's my plan. The Israeli government said 1 million people can move south in 24 hours, correct? That's what they told the people in Gaza. So clearly they believe millions of people can move to a location very quickly. So here's the plan. We're going to give Israel 5 years. Every Israeli citizen, every person there, every Jew, every Arab, whoever, if you have Israeli citizenship, you come to America for free, we'll take you. Like I said, nobody loves Jews more than I do.
For free?
They're the most successful minority. For free, we'll pay for it.
If you
all
have
the money
a good
that's going
country,
to aid to Israel, listen. All the money that's going to aid to Israel will go to the Bring Jews Home Fund. Okay,
gotta charge at least
because
$1 million
Israel,
ahead.
America, we talk about the details. America is the chosen. Listen, some Jews, not all, the radical Jewish supremacists believe that they are God's chosen people, that they are literally better than others, right? I don't believe that anyone is better than anyone else, except Americans better than.
Oh, you don't believe that?
So America is the true Israel. All right. So let's get out of the Middle East where apparently they all hate you. Come to the U.S. where
I got your solution.
Half of Jews already are. Wait, hold on. Answer this question real quick. I just want to make sure. I just want to just fact check you.
Yeah.
Do you know how many Jews there are in the world?
20 million.
Total number. Okay, I think it's like 15 million, but let's say 20 million. No, I think it's 15 million. Do you know how many are in Israel? 7.
7.5.
Yeah. Do you know how many are in the United States?
More.
Almost. It's like 6.8. So we already have Israel here. So let's just double up on it. We got plenty of room. Okay. Jews are the
okay,
most successful
PFJung,
minority.
I got your solution.
So let's have them come here.
I am not against that.
And then all the radical Orthodox who were like, no, this is our homeland, and we have to blow up the temple here, or we have to blow up the mosque so we can build our temple. Okay, you guys can stay there and duke it out with Hamas.
PFJung.
True Israelis, God's chosen people, will come here.
I am not against your solution. I, like you, love the Jews. Some of my best friends are Jewish.
Yes. Like I said, nobody loves Jews more than I do.
But here's the thing. I have a strong suspicion many Jews want to stay in Israel. Okay?
That's true.
Now, you want to hear my solution?
But America's better.
Here's my solution. Yes. No, I don't. I mean, is America greater than Israel?
Are Americans better than everyone else? The answer is yes, of course. So let's bring Israel here. Because
no, I'd say the Israelites are a little bit better. But anyhow, here's my. You want to hear my solution or not?
Please, yeah. What's your solution?
First of all, I want to say your solution has merit. It's fine, but I don't think it's very practical. Here's what my solution is. You go into Gaza, the Israeli military goes into Gaza, and we basically say, if you support Hamas, and if you belong to Hamas, you go to the south half of Gaza. If you don't support Hamas, and you don't like them, and you're not Hamas, you go to the north half of Gaza. And then, just to make sure, because we know how religious they are, you have thousands of Qurans and thousands of people, and you make them swear on the Quran in front of Allah that they're okay with Israel existing where they are at, and they swear in front of Allah that they don't support Hamas before you let them into the north half. Okay? So all the supporters of Hamas is south, all the non-supporters north, and then you flatten the south. Done. And then if you need to repeat,
we'll call that the Hezbollah strategy. And then because that's what Hezbollah will do to Israel. Did you vote for Benjamin Netanyahu? Yes. Killed. Did you not? No. You're fine.
What Hezbollah will? What would you just say? Hezbollah will do that?
The Hezbollah. That's what you just provided a solution to Gaza. Is what Hezbollah.
But Hezbollah has no power. That's the difference. What I said can actually be done. What
Well,
Hezbollah can't
believe it
do
or not,
anything.
I'm gonna say something that'll surprise people. I'm not a geopolitical mastermind here, and I didn't know too much about the conflict prior to a month ago. But I believe Hezbollah is significantly more well equipped than Hamas, and actually poses a real
Yeah,
threat to
that's
Israel.
like
If it's spread across multiple fronts,
that's
which
like
it is now.
that's like a bodybuilder trained in jiu-jitsu. You're saying he has to fight a 5-year-old instead of a 4-year-old. I mean, come on. Hezbollah's
That's your geopolitical
nothing.
take.
Hamas is nothing. Iran is nothing compared to the great power of the United States and Israel.
Do you think we should still be fighting in Ukraine just as a tandem? Do you think we
No.
should still be
No,
fighting Russia and Ukraine?
no,
No.
nope.
Okay.
No, hey, by the way, no, I am against money going to Israel from the United States, and I'm against money going to the Ukraine from the United States. Israel can take care of itself.
No, it can't. If we stop funding Israel, it'd get destroyed.
You think so? By
We
who?
provide them munitions. We provide. I could be wrong. I believe we
hang
provide
on.
them the
When
majority
I
of their
say-
Iron Dome rocket.
When I say no money to Israel, that's different than saying Israel can buy munitions from the United States. I'm not saying we can't have trade with them. All I'm saying is you don't give them free money for nothing.
Money for nothing.
Weird. Checks for free. How's that go? We got Muslims who want in here right now, by the way.
Okay.
We got one guy who wants in here who can just talk.
Can you have multiple people on, or
Yeah, I
or
can, but do you want
you
that?
want me to? I'd be interested to hear from a Muslim perspective. And
Well, there's a Muslim's going to
Yeah.
come on. His name is Eats Eating. He's just going to talk. It'll be very hard to stop him. He'll just talk for like 5 minutes at a time.
Okay,
and
well, that doesn't sound interesting to me.
yeah, he'll just
The way
talk
you
and
just
talk
phrased-
about
the
how
way-
bad Israel is.
The way you just. Okay. Well, it sounds like you somewhat agree if we're giving them aid, right? I think
You didn't give me your. I gave my opinion about your solution. I said I liked it, but it's not practical. My solution can actually be done. It take time, but it can actually be done, and they're kind of doing it already. But what do you think about it?
I think your idea of let's get everyone to ask, do you support Hamas, and swear in a Quran, and people will give you honest answers seems unlikely.
You actually think they're not as religious as they say they are? Because a true Muslim swearing on the Quran in front of Allah, it would be really hard for a high degree of religiosity to lie about that.
I don't know. There are Muslims who say a true Muslim would not kill innocents the way Hamas did. So if Hamas is willing to get around that, then they'd be willing to lie to their Quran in order to kill more innocents.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I agree that Hamas are not true Muslims.
But they're religious people who you can't stand. See, you are the most wild dog that I know on YouTube, because you are an atheist conservative, which I will never be able to square.
I'm the most dangerous person.
I think you're like the Joker, right? And not the not the Joaquin, not the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. You're the Heath Ledger Joker, just pure archetypal. This is not even a human. This is just some being who just thrives on chaos.
You want to know how I got these scars?
Right. I generally do not think we should kill large amounts of innocent children. That's my go-to. So
I agree with that. But I also believe you shouldn't use them as shields either. But let me ask you this: let's say you have a big family. Do you have a big family? Do you have a big family?
Extended, yeah. I've decently. My mom's one of 4 sisters.
Okay, so imagine your family lived all together in a certain area, your extended cousins, whatever, and every 5 years or so, 2 or 3 of your family members die from this other clan of family. And your family sucks at defending itself. Let's say you were raised Mennonite. And I gave you 2 choices of, we're going to bring a guy in to help defend your family. Who's going to orchestrate a plan and whatever. Would you rather have Netanyahu defend your family or President Biden?
Would you rather be killed by incineration or suffocation? I don't know.
No. See,
let's go with
the point is,
Netanyahu.
you called, yeah, exactly. You called Netanyahu a mobster, and I would propose,
Yeah, he is, and a war criminal,
I would propose
and a scumbag,
I would propose that,
and a terrorist sympathizer.
I would propose that a mobster is exactly what you need in a situation like this. Just
Not
like
if
you
the-
said, you would
see,
choose him as
yeah.
your defender of your family.
Your hypotheticals.
You love them,
You're
don't
the worst
you?
hypotheticals I've ever done.
No,
your hypotheticals
they're so
suck.
good. You don't know what to say when I
See, I am generally in favor of like, hey, if we're talking about a question of principle, let's take the most extreme limit of that principle to test the principle. Your hypotheticals just don't map on the reality. Yours is just like, if you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler, it's like, well, we don't have time travel, so the entire thing's bullshit. You are operating in a ridiculous vacuum.
This hypothetical is very real.
Netanyahu explicitly propped up Hamas to keep Gaza and the West
And you
Bank
would choose
divided
Netanyahu to
for
protect
his
your
own
family.
benefit.
And you would
Not
choose
if it
Netanyahu
furthers, not if he's the one funding the people killing my family so he can make a
Why did
profit
he
off
do
my
that if he did that?
racketeering.
Why did he do that if he did
Because-
that?
Because Netanyahu aligns himself with radical Jewish supremacists who believe that they're better
He
than other
did it to
people.
divide
They're the master
Hamas.
race.
He
Yes.
did it to divide Hamas.
Why did he do that? And no, not divide Hamas. Divide Hamas and the PLO
He did to divide the Gaza Strip.
from the West Bank.
Yeah. Infighting.
Right.
How do you
Yes. Why
conquer
did he
your
do that?
enemy? How do you
Hold on.
conquer your
Why
enemy?
did
By
he do that?
dividing them.
That's your point. That's my point. I don't think the Palestinians are de facto the enemies of the Israelis. And there's a lot of Israelis who don't believe that either.
No.
I think you have a very simple worldview that has been poisoned by Mehdi Hassan. I'll tell you. I'll end with this, and then you can bring on your Muslim guest, who will who will attack Israel, metaphorically. Mehdi Hassan, did you? For several years, I had heard that Israel had a far right government. Had you heard that
Yeah.
at all? Right, I heard it, and I was like, well, hold on. The same people saying that Israel is a far right government claim that Donald Trump is far right. So guess how much I believe that bullshit? Zero, because Donald Trump is not far right. Then I looked into it about a month ago of who exactly was the far right. And I'll be perfectly clear. The current Israeli government, who's in coalition with Netanyahu, makes Donald Trump look like a far left progressive. They are actual master race believing, I am inherently God's chosen people better than others, mass shooter sympathizers who believe it's okay to kill Palestinians in order to move their land and deport them. Ben Gvir has. I almost don't care what anyone's opinion is on this subject if they're not familiar with that side of the story, because, like I said, that would be like me arguing with someone about Hamas, and they don't know that Hamas has as its charter.
True or false? Netanyahu gets along with
destruction of Israel.
Saudi Arabia.
It seemed like they were on the way to normalization.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know how much of that was Netanyahu.
Because Saudi Arabia basically said, Israel, you can have that land. You do your thing, we'll do ours. And they're like, fine. Why can't Netanyahu?
And how is that? Yeah, and how's the situation now?
Well, the situation is a little bit different now.
Did you know?
But
Did you know that Turkey met with the head of state of the Taliban?
no. But I don't doubt it.
Apparently to mobilize troops, and Turkey's a NATO country, so we're about to get in a very significant clusterfuck.
Oh, come on. You actually think... never mind. I was just going to say, like...
That we could get into World War III?
No, well, that anybody in the Middle East has any power.
Well, Israel certainly does.
Besides Israel, yeah.
I think that if Iran, I don't know.
They don't.
I certainly am worried about World War III. Iran is allied with Russia.
I said this
we're
about
essentially
Russia.
at war with Russia.
I said this to my Russian friend. The state of Arizona could take out
Dmitry?
Russia. No, Elias. The state of Arizona
well,
alone
Ukraine
could take out
basically
the Middle East, but
Maybe. Well, our resources are depleted rapidly, the United States, because we spent so much in Ukraine. I believe we're out of 150 millimeter. We're out of a specific
We just
type
print
of
more
munition.
money, Paul.
Well, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Listen, the one thing that we know for sure is that if you invest in Raytheon right now, things will look good for you.
Yeah. You know, Raytheon's headquarters is just a few miles from me.
Yep. They come and visit every now and then.
I got friends who work there. And every time they talk to me, they got to tell their superiors because I'm a Canadian citizen.
That's fair. I got friends who work for other military industrial complexes.
But now I'm an American, so now I'm okay. Anyhow, I'll let you go.
So he says. So he says he's an American. Still sounds like one of the.
I still think my solution is better than yours.
Fair enough. I don't think you're operating with all the facts. This is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll leave. One sentence. One word. 2 words.
2 words.
Ben
Gvir.
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 Look it up.
Horrible guy.
Disgusting. Rabid dog. Just like Hamas. Anyway, I'm sure I'll be fine and not get canceled, but we'll see.
See ya.
All right. Good morning, Doug. Peace.
That was fun. That was fun with 2 Fs. Okay, who do we got here? Oh, okay, I'm going to bring this in out of sheer entertainment. Bring this person in. You're on. Make sure your YouTube tab's off.
Is everything off? Is it okay? Peace, anyway.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
A pity you didn't let me on to... I came on to support the other guy, actually, so...
Well, I know you would,
I would have let him talk. I would have let him talk, and I would have just supported him with any issues. One of them is, just out of interest, are you now proposing, accepting that it is genocide?
No.
What's going on? Last time we spoke, you were questioning that it is a genocide.
No, I'm not saying it's genocide.
But the land is being taken even before October 7th.
I don't consider taking of land genocide.
And pushing the people out of the area.
I do not consider the relocation of people or the seizing of land as genocide. I consider the death...
And killing them as well. They're also being pushed out. Is it ethnic cleansing then?
To a degree, yeah.
It is. So you accept it is ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, if ethics means that Jews don't have the right to live there, yeah.
No, ethnic cleansings in the West Bank there's 700,000 Israelis. How did they get there? It surely was ethnic cleansing.
How did who get where?
The Jewish people in the West Bank. Wasn't that ethnic cleansing? They took away Palestinian land.
So you view the transfer of people from one area to another as ethnic cleansing?
Isn't it?
I'd say no. I'd say you have to kill them first.
What's the difference between ethnic cleansing and genocide then?
Genocide's killing. Ethnic cleansing.
And ethnic cleansing is?
Ethnic cleansing is killing as well, but genocide, when I think of genocide, I think of a complete killing. So in other words, if let's say you have a community of 100 people and you kill 5 of them, that's not genocide. That's killing of 5
then
people.
There hasn't been, then there's never been a genocide ever.
Okay, fair point, but I think once you get up to 99%, 98%, high 90% health, then you can consider, yeah, you can't always get rid of 100%. You're right.
But have you looked at the definition of genocide? It's not killing everyone. It's actually pushing people away from their uprooting.
I did
them
last time we talked. I looked it up, and it talked about the death, not about the taking of land.
Okay, not taking of land, which is ethnic cleansing. The Palestinians have been ethnically cleansed when they've been pushed into little ghettos like Gaza. The West Bank is full of Gaza.
I disagree with your definition. Now what?
You disagree, but it's a fact that the Palestinians live in little areas surrounded by Jewish settlements and every now and then the settlers go in with the support of the Jewish police and the Israeli army. They scare, terrorize, in fact, the local population, get them to move, kill one, or maybe shoot them in the foot, and they eventually move off the land. Anyway, that is actually happening. I'm sorry you don't know that. As an American, probably you don't. Christians, what about Christian Palestinians? What would you do with the Gazans who didn't want to swear on the Quran, like Christians?
The Christians who
your
didn't...
solution, you have a solution.
Oh no, if they're Christian, then they can swear on the Bible.
Would a Christian be more truthful swearing on the Bible than a Muslim?
It depends on the type of Christianity, but there are some Christians who would rather die than swear like in Jesus' name and tell a lie. Like there are Christians like that, yeah.
And just like there are Muslims who will not move because they feel on principle they shouldn't move.
Yeah.
There are Christians, and they are actually speaking out. They are saying, "Do not move. Stay here. This is our land. We aren't going anywhere.
Hey,
they
eats
can bomb
eating.
us, they can kill us."
Eats eating. It's not their land anymore.
Then what is just? Let's talk about justice. Is it just that it's not their land? Can anyone just?
This is what wars are about.
Someone else's land. So it's war then is might. Well, what is the United Nations? What was the Second World War
United
about?
Nations don't matter.
Okay, recognizing borders don't matter. Right is might. Might is right.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I've said this last
Yes,
time
you
we
are.
talked. I'm saying might is what's going to happen. What's right or wrong doesn't even matter at this point.
That's what. Well, I'm asking about justice. Then I'm asking about justice. I want you to go to justice. As an atheist, you say you have a moral compass. As an atheist, seek out your moral compass, atheist, and please tell me what is justice.
In what specific case? Give me a specific case.
Should these people who have been ethnically cleansed and moved out and
I
pushed
disagree with
out,
your characterization, but go on.
Well, where did 90% of the Jews come from?
Ask your question about justice.
They came to Israel from Europe. They were white colonial settlers. There were Jews there before.
What's your question about
living
justice?
side by side? Is it right that these people who are living in the land and have now been pushed out to maybe 10% of the land? They used to occupy 95% of the land. Now they're in 10% of the land.
You're talking about like in the
rest.
40s. You're talking about the initial thing in the 40s, right?
I'm talking about the whole picture. The whole picture. These people are refugees. They are not Gazans. Most of them are from other places. They are from Israel. They are from present-day Israel. Where is the justice? Where does your moral compass point to?
This is the
same. You want to kill them if they don't move. You want them to either stay and be slaves or move to an area where they can be killed. Is this justice?
Is it justice? Life sucks.
There is no justice, is there? I mean, can I just quote you? I think you'd agree with this. Winston Churchill once said this. He said, I do not admit, for instance, that a great wrong has been done to the Red Indians of America or the black people of Australia. I do not admit that a wrong has been done to these people by the fact they are a stronger race, a higher grade race, a more worldly wise race has come to replace them. So to him, it's justified because this race, a wrong has been done to them. However, he can justify it because a better race has replaced them. So how can you justify the land being taken, these people not having the right to go back? They have to either accept themselves as slaves. They can't ask for their land to be back.
It's not their land anymore.
It used to be their land. Is it just that they should be pushed off the land?
To me, this
Would
is
you allow...
absolutely stupid.
Okay.
If you want to play the game of it used to be their
What
land,
game is
I
that?
can. Okay,
What game am I playing? I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth.
You're telling me
You
who
are
owned the land first? Is that what you want to say?
I'm not saying who owned the land first. They were there.
Who
and
was
they were
there
moved on.
first?
They are the DNA apparently shows that they are related to the Canaanites. So what on earth are you talking about?
Oh, you're going to say you're saying the Palestinians are the Canaanites?
No, but your hero Benjamin Netanyahu, who the other chap who was on before me said that
Israel's land, or the land called Israel today. Who was there first, the Palestinians or the Israelites? Answer honestly.
And
in front, as all as your witness, answer honestly.
Honestly, which ones? Because the are the white Jews of today the same as? There's been mixing of populations. Honestly, are you talking about? Are the Europeans? Are the European Jews, the Ashkenazis, same as the Jews that were there first?
Can I use your
answer
Palestinians?
Now? I'm telling.
When you said the Palestinians were there first, I can say, well, there's a mixture of Palestinians and Jews, so it's not really.
There definitely are.
Oh,
your hero Netanyahu.
So Israel has the right to that land then, because this is a mixture.
Your hero Netanyahu called them Amalek. Amalek were there first, weren't they? Do you know who that Amalek are? You know your Bible.
Yeah.
Netanyahu said, "Remember what Amalek has done to you." That was his address to his soldiers.
Yep.
Remember what Amalek. Now you know what's coming next, and I'm surprised that the world media hasn't picked this up.
You know, she just skirted over the whole who was there first thing.
No, well, they were both there first. Both of them are related to Canaanites.
Okay, now let's get back to justice. If they were both there first,
yeah,
then it is just that Israel got the land that they got in the 40s.
Why is it just? Tell me why.
You tell me why it isn't. The default position, if you're going to allude to
after 2000, so if a Native American came along and said, give me the land you're sitting on right now, where you are right now, you'd say, oh, that's justice. You won't say, well, I've been here for 300 years or 200 years.
Okay.
You actually have been there for 20 years.
The American Native one argument is way better because it's very clear they were there first. But you, by your own admission, has now said there's a mixing of people. So you can't use the we were there first argument for the Palestinians.
Of course I can. They were there for a longer period as well, for 2,000 continuous.
Who was there first, the Palestinians or the Israelites? Answer in front of Allah.
Both were there first. Both were there first. They are both, their ancestors were the Canaanites. Their ancestors are both the Canaanites.
Okay, so then from this
I'm not giving you that argument. I'm not giving you that argument. I'm giving you something else.
You cannot say the Palestinians were there first then, right?
I didn't say the Palestinians were there first. I'm saying that they were settled there.
I thought you did earlier.
And then victims of white Christians, Europeans, came along and made the Palestinians the victims of the victims. The Palestinians are the victims of the victims. The Palestinians were there when the Christians twice expelled the Jews from Jerusalem. And when the Muslims took back Jerusalem, on both occasions, they gave Christians, they gave the Jews the right to return. And to the Christians, because there was so much division amongst the Christians, Saladin gave a Muslim family the keys to the churches of Jerusalem. Even to this day, after 1,000 years, the Christian church, the main Christian church in Jerusalem, the key is held by a Muslim. The Muslims did not expel Christians or Jews. It was the Christians twice who expelled the Jews, and it was on 2 occasions when the Muslims took back Jerusalem that the Jews were actually asked to return. There's never been this animosity except in recent times. Anyway, your solution, but it won't work as well because if it's a case of life or death, a Muslim does not need to keep his word. I mean, if you put a gun to my head and say, convert to Christianity, a Muslim does not have to say, no, I will not.
Oh, you're saying.
I mean, if he does,
you're saying the Palestinians would lie.
I'm not saying they would lie. If they don't lie and get killed, right, you're a martyr. But there was a case in the time of the Prophet when a mother and son, they were asked to relinquish their religion.
Is being a martyr a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. The mother said,
Whoa.
The mother said, I will not relinquish my. The mother said, I will not relinquish my religion, and she was tortured to death. The son, seeing this, said, I reject Islam.
You just said being a martyr is a good thing.
It's a good thing, and then
so you support Israel killing Palestinians as martyrs?
I do not. No one wants to die. Not really.
So being a martyr is a bad thing?
If there's a death to be had, martyrdom is a good way to die. To die for what you believe in, principles.
Yeah, instant paradise, right?
Don't you know any of these sayings? All the revolutions.
Why do you want to punish the Palestinians by keeping them alive in terrible conditions?
The American. Don't you want to stand on your feet rather than live on your knees? What kind of American are you? What kind of a French revolutionary?
So it sounds like you're for fighting.
What kind of enlightened?
It sounds like you're for fighting.
Humanist atheist are you?
You don't want to fall on your knees. You want to stand up and fight.
What would Jesus say? George would say, "Stand there and stand your ground." Maybe not pick up a weapon. He who dies by a sword.
So you're for
stand your ground, man. Stand your ground.
Yeah. So you're for the Palestinians standing their ground, right? Right.
Die on your feet rather than lay like a worm in the ground.
Yeah.
I mean.
So you're for Israel fighting the Palestinians. The Palestinians fighting for Israel.
And you're for Hamas fighting the Israelis, aren't you?
No.
Tit for tat. Why not? Then that sounds to me very unjust, unfair.
You know, the Phoenix Suns is my basketball team here in Arizona, and they lost to Philadelphia last night, 118-100. I mean, the disproportion, like 100 points went in the enemy put in our basket, and that we put in their basket, and they responded with 118. I mean,
Did they give up?
No, they didn't give up. But I mean, the response that Philadelphia gave was so unproportionate. It wasn't fair. It
isn't fair. It's David against Goliath.
Yeah.
The Palestinians are David with a slingshot, and so usually people are with the underdog, but it seems like Americans don't see it that way at all, unless you consider Israel to be the underdog.
So what's the smarter thing to do if you're an underdog and defeat is imminent? To stand up and fight?
The smart thing to do is
to fall on your knees and beg for mercy.
Yes, and to leave. That's a smart thing to do. But
well, you just contradicted yourself. You said earlier, just 5 minutes ago, that you should stand and die on your feet, and now you're saying you should fall on your knees.
Yeah.
Which is it? Stand on your feet or fall on your knees?
Well, if you don't want change, revolutionary people who win revolution stand on their feet. Die on their.
Should Hamas stand on their feet or fall on their knees? Which one?
It will. Well, if they're brave enough, definitely they should stand on their feet.
Oh, now you're back to stand on your feet. But you just admitted they're brave.
No, smart. You said what's a smart? You said what's a smart thing to do? Smart thing to do is run away. Maybe you'll fight back. Maybe you can fight another day.
So the smart thing is to run away, but the brave thing would be to stand up and die.
Well, it depends on your principles.
And what do you think the principles of Hamas is? Oh,
what principles? Principles of every
principles don't matter much when you're dead.
Well, people who've fought for freedom have died.
I'd rather be a coward and run and live than a principled man who died.
Exactly.
I mean, at some point,
that's the smart thing to do. The smart thing to do is be a coward. But
No, the smart thing is
then
to
nothing will change.
is to admit
I'm not
you've
asking
been.
for smart. I'm not asking for smart. I'm not asking for
The smart thing is to admit
for
you're defeated, and that you've lost. Beg for mercy, and the killing will stop.
I'm not asking for smart. I'm asking for justice, and that's what the Palestinians are asking for.
Justice. What justice do the
Yes.
Israelites get?
Justice. I don't see a solution to this.
Now you don't see a
PineCreek.
solution. Do you want justice for the
two-state
Israelites?
solution is. Sorry, say that again.
Do you want justice for the Israelites?
Well, even though we've had unlike the Christians who believe that, and the Jews actually who believe that a bastard has got no right to come into the congregation in Islam, a bastard is not blamed for their birth. And the
Are
way
you calling
that
the Israelites
Israel,
bastards?
I'm saying that the state of Israel was birthed illegitimately on the graves of Palestinians, but in Islam,
It was their land.
whose
You
land?
admitted that earlier. How is it unjust if it's their land? You admitted it was their land. They got
If
their
you're-
land back.
And there were Jews there. There were Jews there living beside Muslims, but there were 5% of the population. The rest had been moved out, pushed out by Christians.
Okay, we got other people who want.
It was okay. So bye. Take care.
See
Bye.
ya. Sorry for the people who called in and then left. You can call back. I'll try to make these shorter. Rolandas. Let's see if I can hear you.
Yeah, now I'm on. I just wanted not to have the sound repeat
Yep.
from the
Thank you for that.
another tab. Yeah. So I'm a first time here, but I've been listening
Welcome.
to your shows for a while.
Are you having fun?
I mean, it's relaxing most of the time. Sometimes it's tense, like today, for example. So I don't know. Usually I watch them later, and then I think, oh, it would be nice to join and talk about something, but then it's too late. So now it's the first time when I'm on time. Yeah, and I was thinking it's kind of hard for me to enter here because I have to disagree with you, kind of, right? Because that's the topic of the call, right? I don't know yet your positions on some things, so I'm not sure I will be able to disagree.
Well, you can say what you think, and then maybe I can find a disagreement with you. How's that?
Yeah, well, just the recent two calls, I'm thinking maybe I would disagree on the approach of the conversation altogether. So it's like I would say that it's kind of futile. It's more like a play of children, and then
yes, I agree.
Mostly emotions.
If you look at my title, let's have fun.
Oh.
I'm having fun here. Like
yeah. Sometimes it's not clear if you're having fun, but then you show.
Like with the previous caller, I caught him like in like 2 or 3 contradictions. It's like, well, Palestinians were here first, and then I got him to admit, well, really they shared the land, and really, I mean, yeah, and they should stand up and fight. No, they should fall and or run. I mean, anyhow, what do you think about all this?
To him, yeah, I think when I'm watching him, I'm sort of seeing him kind of coming mostly from the heart thing, and you're staying in your brain part, like you're thinking logically there, and he's kind of appealing towards like, yeah, but these are people, we need to care about them, implying that, at least in sentences, it seems so to me, that he's like, he wants to care for, well, at least the Palestinian people there, and whatever he gives you, that doesn't budge you much, and so
No,
you're just poking holes in his arguments. So I think, but then again, he's a human being, right? So he's not like, well, you're not mocking him. You're being fair enough, I guess.
I thought it was nice to him today. Nicer than I was last time.
Yeah. But in any case, it seems like he is missing that he's not on the same conversation level. You could both be on the same one, and then you would probably find some kind of thing to disagree about still, but just more coherence in terms of the approach. So
I have to ask you
this is
this.
where I find it tricky. Yeah.
I have to ask you this. Are you Jewish?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if there's any Jewish line there, but I have Jewish friends too. Yes.
Some of your best friends are Jews. Actually, I have colleagues that I work with who are Jewish and Muslim, and I have, except for one person, I've had no problems working with Muslims. I've had no problems working with Jews. In the United States, it seems like it's a non-issue, but if I was living in the Middle East, it probably would be different.
Well, then regarding the solution for the problem, I'm not that well versed in the political side of that. I know quite little about it, just the general stuff that people watching news might know. But I think overall, there's not enough resources to resolve this anytime soon. So whatever approach you or anybody else offers, it's more like
No, I disagree. I found
tactical
something I
stuff.
disagree with you.
Oh, okay.
I disagree with you. The resources are there to resolve this tomorrow.
Well, if you just mean regarding the cleansing, actually, I looked it up in Wikipedia. It's also moving from one area to another to make it more homogeneous. It's still ethnic
and I agree
cleansing
with
according to.
I agree with the previous caller, but there's a difference between ethnic cleansing and genocide.
Yeah, I agree on that. So, if that would be the goal, yeah, maybe there's enough resources. I don't know if there wouldn't be something impeding that later on anyway. I mean, the West Bank situation is still kind of unclear for me. So, like, it's like, would you just do the Gaza, or is also with the West Bank, and then, you know, because it might arise there sooner or later somehow differently.
Yeah,
So then you have
if it arises there, I'd do the same thing there.
Okay, so it's just like milestones, right?
Yeah, like, and that's why I disagree with you that the resources are there. Like, you could technically go into the country, find allegiances, and I love saying shocking things, but ethnic cleansing is not always bad.
Well,
for example,
depends on the person. Yeah.
For example, let's say there's an ethic of a certain group of people that all Americans should die, and they not only believe this strongly, but they show evidence and demonstrate it by killing Americans, and they are proud of it. So let's say that was happening in the United States by, let's say, 100,000 people who are of a group of organization whose mission is to kill Americans. If you're an American citizen, you die.
Yeah.
I say, let's ethnic cleanse them. Let's get rid of them.
You mean they're living in America?
Yeah.
Or outside somewhere?
Let's say living in America. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anybody here who would be against that type of ethnic cleansing? And I would say no, especially if you're an American.
Okay. Well, it would be a problem, probably to find a place where you would deport them if they're like locals. But so
yeah, there's different ways to cleanse. Yeah, you could deport,
put
or
them,
you
put
kill.
them in prisons at least.
Put in prison. Yeah, you don't have to kill them. Yeah, but it's still a type of cleansing, right? You're ridding society of them, of a certain group of people. That's how I view ethnic cleansing. And I would say even the bleeding heart liberal, or progressives, I should say, would have to admit that that's an example of ethnic cleansing that they would support.
I see an issue here. But we're talking about ideology. When we're talking about ethnicity, they might not share the ideology, and it's the tricky part here as well with Gaza, because you have an ethnicity there, right? But they are not homogenous in terms of their views. So what you're saying, it's not so much I'm wanting to do the ethnic cleansing, but the ideological cleansing.
Well, yeah, okay, that fair enough. But sometimes they're the same thing. Sometimes they're different, right? Like,
well,
usually,
if their ethnicity requires them to have a certain ideology, then maybe.
Yeah. So I guess the better way to put it is ideology cleansing, right?
Okay. Maybe a new term.
so let's say, Myron, strike the ethnic cleansing from the record, and let's say ideological cleansing. There we go.
Greetings to Myron, by the way.
Yeah. Do you know Rolandas? Is that how you say your name?
Yeah.
Rolandas.
Well, I don't think we've met, but I'm a fan. Although you criticize for kind of
What's
doing bad jobs sometimes.
what's your solution to the Hamas Israel thing? If you were the dictator
Yeah.
of the world,
Oh, that would be already bad, I think, because there would be so many people disagreeing with me. It would be way more people disagreeing.
doesn't matter. You're a
with you.
dictator.
Yeah, I haven't seen any successful dictators.
Okay, but you're the dictator. In other words, you have all the power and all the resources, and you see your children of the world fighting. How would you solve it?
Well, I will be biased here, obviously, because what I'm interested in, and talking about Jewish people here, I'm interested in, there's this thing, I even have a book here, which I borrowed, Marshall Rosenberg. Well, it's a Lithuanian version of his book. So he is Jewish and he's from America. You might have heard him, like nonviolent communication. So it is just a one approach. And he did try to do some kind of peace negotiations there in Israel regarding these things. Now he's deceased. But the point is that I think I need an approach that would be helping people with psychological things. And well, the inbreeding that you mentioned some time ago might be an issue to solve there as well, because this is just one of the factors. If people are,
So you don't think I'm crazy for saying that?
Well, I'm okay with people saying the craziest shit, whatever. Like if they're flat earthers,
But do you
and they
agree
want
with
to
it?
say that they believe that. But it's not so much like, I don't have the facts. It would be biologically easy to kind of test and see, right? If we have enough people and check whether a big part of them have genetic things regarding that, and it's not malnutrition or whatever that makes them not able to comprehend certain things. But that's just a factor, I guess. If you have somebody growing up, even if they're maybe lower on IQ and they're still living in an environment which is very peaceful and respects their boundaries and teaches them to respect their boundaries, it might still be for them feasible to do things correctly, regardless of their ability to understand.
You know what? There's some evidence that that there is some retardation going on, because the Palestinian people have gotten money from the outside world, and yet that whole thing about Israel cutting off electricity and water.
Yeah.
Answer me this: how can any nation or any group of people in an area not have their own water or power, and they're 100% reliant on another country, 100%, for something as fundamental as water? I'm sure there's aquifers underneath the Gaza Strip. You cannot dig a well and get water? What is going on in there?
Yeah, well, I think in California they also have struggles with water, and you could raise it, like, are they imbeciles or whatever? But they have some problems there that are genuine, right? There are obviously infrastructural problems. There are things that are just kind of a competition thing. Like if you have something established, then it's like no longer worth to invest into that.
I'd say
So
Californians
they
are a
would need to look into-
little smarter than Palestinians.
Yeah, but regardless, I'm just saying that they have still those problems, right? But I'm saying that I'm not sure I know all the factors. Maybe it's a sign of somebody really not thinking forward and not caring. Maybe they are just like because of being kind of landlocked and then not wanting to use their resources for that. I don't know. Maybe the wells are there, but they're now inaccessible. I have no clue. So
yeah, I think they have their own water and they have their own power, but I think it's propaganda that Israel's cutting them off from all that. But anyhow, it sounds like I got other people want on. Is there anything besides my style you disagree with? Or my degree?
Yeah. It's not so much that it's I disagree, but I think there's still a better approach some places. But now I cannot kind of come up with one. So
And you know what? I think we agree on that. That you disagree with my approach, and I agree with you disagreeing with my approach. But I do my approach because it's the most fun for me. So.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Anyhow, thanks for coming on,
Okay.
Rolandas.
Yeah. See you next time.
Finally, we can have fat ass dogs on. And we don't have to talk about the Hamas Israel thing the whole time.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
What's up with you?
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. That's just my profile picture I use on YouTube. I thought I'd use it as a background or something.
No,
Anyway,
that's
how
great.
You doing, man?
I'm doing about an 8 out of 10. How about you? Out of 10?
Oh, I'm doing good. I can hear you fine. Like, what are you asking? I'm sorry.
Well, at a scale between 0 and 10, 10 being you're feeling the best you've ever felt, where are you today? Between 0 and 10.
If you want the truth, 8.
Yeah,
Just
we're
'cause
about the same.
I got sick today. Nah, I'm a little congested, but
I'm sorry. Hey, take
well,
magnesium, zinc, vitamin D, and vitamin C, and get plenty of rest and fluids.
No, I've been having a lot of water and Gatorade. That's pretty much it. But anyway, man, I just came on to talk to you because I wanted to tell you my position on the whole Israel and the Hamas thing. Specifically, I want to talk about the United States and how their role and how we should do it.
Okay.
Personally, we should be neutral, okay? I mean, let's be honest. We've always been a neutral country, even before the 19th century. Before the 19th century, that was our main goal, to be neutral from all foreign wars. And in my opinion, we're not following the doctrines anymore. The old doctrines that America
Did we
used to
fight the
stand
French
by.
in the 1800s or 1700s?
Did we fight the French? No, we didn't have a war with the French. We had a little dispute with them in the early 1700s.
Or did we defend the French, or was it both? But we definitely fought a foreign war against the British in the 1700s.
Yeah. Well, we had two wars with the British. That's it. Just
Okay, but anyhow, your
revolution
stance is United States should be neutral.
Completely neutral. We should stop funding Israel. We should stop funding Gaza. We should stop giving humanitarian
I said the same
aid.
thing.
I'm
sick of
it, man.
But would you before, let's say Israel comes by with $1 billion, and asks Raytheon for some missiles, and Raytheon sells Israel missiles, you're okay with that? As long as they pay for it with their own money?
Yes. If they want to invest their own money into buying their own resources to fight their own wars, I have nothing against that. Besides, I want nothing to do with their war, just like I don't want nothing to do with Ukraine at all or Gaza. I mean, let's be honest. President Biden, he's supporting both sides. He's giving humanitarian aid to the Gaza people, and he's giving billions and billions of dollars for the Israels to go blow them up.
Oh, I feel sorry for Biden right now. I mean, he's taking it hard from his far left-wing contingency. I mean, they hate him right now.
He's a piece of crap. That's why. Let's be honest. He's the worst president that we've had in the 21st century. I mean, we need Donald Trump back. That's just how I feel, man.
What do you like?
Trump?
What do you like about Trump?
What do I like about Trump? I like that he's for America first, and he has a good head on his shoulders when it comes to certain policies. I've even been to multiple Trump rallies myself, man. I've been like 3, and hell, I got to see him up close. It was fucking cool.
He's tall.
But no, yeah, he is actually pretty tall. I think I'm tall.
That's what makes for a great president, is height. We know that from history.
Maybe. But no. He actually had things under control before the COVID situation. Our economy was flowing. We had great things coming in, and then he lost. Well, the election was stolen. But anyway, the election was stolen, and then Biden got in, and then he had the opportunity to fix all of this. He had the opportunity to let our economy grow, but no. Instead, he decided to make a bunch of mistakes, including foreign policy mistakes.
What mistakes did Biden make?
Let's talk. Do you want me to go first with how he handled Afghanistan? Let's see, leaving billions of dollars worth of military equipment over there, leaving Americans to die over there. What kind of president is that?
But that was a sunk cost. Like, how did that hurt Americans now? I mean,
How
we
did
already
that-
we already paid for that equipment, so.
Well, why not take it back?
Well, yeah, Tim, I agree with you. But
yeah, why not? That's
but,
what I'm saying.
practically domestic issues. How has Biden hurt the country?
How else? Oh, okay. Let's see. Sending money to foreign countries, that's one thing. And and let's see. Instead of taking responsibility for any actions that he does whatsoever, he has to blame it on Trump. Trump this, Trump that. Inflation. Hasn't fixed inflation at all whatsoever. Like the inflation crisis bill that he presented to Congress.
Okay, I'm not a Biden fan. I want to let you know that. I'm not a Biden
okay.
fan. In fact, yeah, I'm not at all. But I do not blame inflation on Biden. At least hardly any. I mean, I would say the inflation problem is the Federal Reserve.
You think it's okay? I can somewhat agree with you on that. Yeah.
From decades and decades and decades of quantitative easing and buying of bonds with digitized money. But I would say, and I would also blame the Trump administration for inflation during COVID.
Okay, I will agree with you. I will 100% agree with you. He gave out so many stimulus checks.
Yes.
I will agree with you. Trump
shut down the economy, bad idea, and then flood the nation with the PPP programs and all these programs. I lean conservative, but I'm totally against that. I could have taken like a $20,000 check and I refused it because out of principle.
I get what you mean, but you gotta understand the situation he was in, man. Like, if you're the people were pressuring him, something needed to be done, obviously, because everything was shutting down, man. It wasn't Trump specifically who shut everything down. It was the governors. Okay,
True.
The states have their own rights. The 10th Amendment is there. So no, I have to blame the governors. And I'm from Michigan, as you can see, man. I'm from Michigan, and I have the worst governor in the whole state. Oh man, yeah, we are just in a hellhole right now, in my view. Our country's going in the wrong direction. We just need to fix it. That's just my view.
Yeah, well, you're still eating, drinking. You'd rather live in the United States than Gaza, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So look on the bright side.
Yeah, I'm on the bright side, but
are you in a wheelchair right now?
How long will it take for our country to fall? Let me ask you that.
Fall? What do you mean by fall?
Like when's it gonna end, man? Like our country's coming to an end as it is, bro.
No.
And trust me, if we keep oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. If we look, I'm trying to tell you, man. If we keep going like we're going right now, we won't have a country.
What do you mean by that? What's the radical nonsense? Yes, we're going to have a country.
Okay, maybe not the country you want.
Okay,
we're gonna have
fair enough. But our nation, and I can say our now because I'm a U.S. citizen as of February of this year, our nation has been through ebbs and flows like this before. Like, I would say our nation is way better off than the day-to-day life of the Cuban Missile Crisis or the Cold War or even World War I and World War II. Like, would you rather live during those days? The Civil War? Like, 2023 is way better than any of those periods.
True, but the Roman Empire, they've been around for thousands of years. They had many wars. They fell.
Yeah, you're right. But,
All civilizations fail.
They were basically replaced by a different name. That's all.
Yeah, and personally, I'm a Christian. Okay, I don't believe in this nonsense that we have that it's a country thing. Okay, I don't believe in that. I'm a Christian. You know what I mean? I don't believe in like country first or anything like.
You know
that.
what? This is interesting. Okay, this is great. I'm glad you came here today because I've actually haven't had someone like you on before. I'm trying to think. I haven't had a Christian Trump supporting type person on who wants to talk about the politics and so I got a ton of questions for you.
I respect you if you're an atheist, but yeah, go ahead, shoot.
Why do you think the election was stolen?
Why do I think the election was
And be as
stolen?
specific as
And-
you can.
Okay, I'm going to be as specific as I can. There are multiple states, including Arizona, Georgia, and Michigan, that had ballots coming in through night, all through night. That's never happened before, okay? In an election in our history. We've never had an election in our history, okay?
Mhm.
Trump was leading Arizona, Michigan, and Georgia. And then overnight, 1 million votes come in for Biden because they claim, oh, well, it was those mail-in votes that just came in.
Okay, let me play devil's
Bullshit.
advocate. Okay.
Okay.
Number one, I want to say I agree with you because I actually remember, this just popped in my head. I remember watching Matt Dillahunty on the Line program during the election. And I remember seeing Matt Dillahunty's face of dejection. We lost. Trump won. And then after around midnight, my time, which had been like 2 a.m. his time, maybe, I don't know, things changed. So you're right.
Yeah.
During the night, something happened. But here's my question. That doesn't mean there was fraud.
Yeah. I mean, how can you explain 100 million votes, 100,000 votes coming in overnight in Michigan, man? And there's other
No,
proof in
they're
Pennsylvania.
absentee ballots that came in and that were counted. That's how you explain it.
Yeah, how quickly do you think they counted those? Really? Like, that's impossible. 100,000 overnight, you can count those overnight? Ridiculous. No way. I don't believe that.
Could they
we've had
count
elections
10,000
where
during the night?
what?
Like, it depends on how many people you have
100,000.
counting, right?
Yeah, it depends on how many people you have counting. Yeah, exactly. But I noticed how they wouldn't even let us check the, electronic voting machines, dude. There were multiple electronic voting machines. I'm sure you've had to vote for
Okay.
one, right?
Fair point. But how can you be confident that there was election fraud if at best you should be agnostic? Like, you can suspect that the machines are bad or there was something funny going on, but you can't really know for sure unless you actually check it, right?
Yeah, and how come every time Trump did a lawsuit, he sued pretty much just so he could, have the voting machines checked. Nothing happened.
Okay,
Nothing
that I
happened.
agree
They
with
were
you.
like, "Oh,
You know what's
you
funny
can't
about
check the voting machines." No.
You know why I'm for the Trump indictments, and some of it at least is because the truth might actually come out. So, for example, if Trump makes the claim the election was stolen, and if part of the crime he made is like Trump is saying false information, that claim is only true if what Trump said is actually false. So, in order to say that Trump is actually saying false information, then all the things you're talking about of we need to check this, we need to check that, we need to check that, actually has to come in to the light of the court of law. And wouldn't it be funny if in the attempts to try to bring Trump down, huge election fraud comes to light? That would be so ironic.
That would fucking bring the whole system down, man.
But I still think that it is more likely. I mean, is there fraud? Yes, there's always fraud. But the question is it enough to overturn an election over so many different states? To me, that's a low probability.
Well, I mean, it was possible because, come on, it was a COVID season. It was a pandemic. We were all forced to wear masks. All
Agreed.
That stuff.
But that's an argument that it's not election fraud, right? Because of all the absentee ballots.
Then how come they were promoting them highly before the election?
But I
Get
do
your
agree.
absentee ballot.
I do agree with you that with a high level of absentee ballots does come the potential for a high degree of fraud. I agree. I think you might be implying that, and I would agree with that implication. But still, at best, you should be agnostic and not dogmatically say it was election fraud. You should say maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I believe it was stolen. That's
Okay.
my point.
That's your opinion. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I read the other day, just was it yesterday or the day before, that a woman was caught stuffing the ballot box in a Democratic primary in, was it New Jersey? And she was
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania. You're right. Yeah. And so it's on video, And what's interesting to me about that was it's a Democratic primary, so Republicans are not involved with this at all. And Democrats wanted this guy to win, but the ballots went in for a different guy. So now Democrats are saying this is election fraud, and it opens the idea in some Democrats' mind that A, election fraud happens, and B, that it can overturn elections, because it's happened in their own primary now in the last, 2 days ago or whatever. And to me, I find that fascinating and good, because at least, because I would not be shocked. I don't believe that Trump won the election. However, it would not surprise me at all if there was an omniscient being, or if we could actually look at every single piece of evidence possible, which I don't think is practical. It wouldn't shock me at all if it were true. Because it's not an extraordinary claim to say that election fraud happens. And so people who think that's just impossible to happen and this is such a huge claim, no, it isn't. Like I remember, was it in Mexico or Central America where El Chapo's cartel single-handedly overturned an election?
I know what you're talking about, the Mexican presidential election.
Yeah, so it definitely can happen, does happen, and so it wouldn't shock me.
Okay, but wouldn't it seem suspicious if you got a mail-in ballot that you didn't even ask for?
Yeah.
Isn't that a little suspicious? I've gotten those. Everyone in Michigan has gotten an in-mail ballot that they didn't even ask for. I didn't even ask for my ballot. I threw that thing away.
Well, this is what I hate. I've lived in the United States for 26 years, and I just recently became a citizen, and I can almost guarantee you, not 100%, but that I could have gone and voted in any election I wanted to. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't, but I could have. That is wrong. That is wrong. And so I am all for making elections harder. And I don't care if that makes people cry. Elections, it should be a little difficult to do. You should have to show ID. You should have to give a signature. And if that means certain disenfranchised people or oppressed people, no, go boo, 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 cry yourself asleep. I don't care. Elections are important. It should take effort to do, a little bit of effort. You should know a little bit about who you're voting for. And if it's just completely easy, that's bad. Anyhow, there's my speech.
Well, anyway, man, it was really nice talking to you. I just wanted to come out and say that. But yeah, in my opinion, we need to stay neutral in this whole Hamas and Israel thing. Honestly, America needs to just go back to where, we need to go back to certain values that we used to have. You know what I mean?
Make America great again. That's what you're saying.
Put America first.
Yeah.
Put America first. America first. That's what I'm saying. Well, anyway, you take care, buddy.
Okay. Thanks for calling in. That was fun too. Oh, this is so much fun. See, the left-wing progressives, they don't know whether to hate me or love me because I push back on the election fraud thing. But then I said other things, and they go, it's like being on a roller coaster with me, right? You don't know what to do. Hey, he's catching up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gotcha.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Hello. Huh.
You got to turn off your other tab.
Oh, okay. The YouTube tab. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. That's okay. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
How do I put my name on here?
It's too late now, I think.
Do it now? Oh,
Maybe.
oh well.
But-
I've commented on your stuff many times. David Chamberlain, do you remember me?
Oh, David.
You liked my joke about you liked my joke about hydrogen.
Yes, that was good. You almost got me on that one because I did.
I almost got
Yeah, you almost got me because
That's a good one, right?
I had to read it really slowly because at first I thought you were a stupid dunce, but then you said solar system and I was thinking universe, and then oh, that's smart. What? Tell people what you said. You said what?
Okay. I said, did you know? I hope that there are more atoms, more hydrogen atoms in a water molecule
In one water
than
molecule.
there are stars. One water molecule than there are stars in the entire solar system.
Yeah. And most people, they'll read that and think you're an idiot, but you're told the truth. There's 2 hydrogen atoms in one water molecule, and there's one star in our solar system called the sun. Excellent. Well done.
Yeah, and when I saw this, there was a picture of a guy holding a glass of water. So your first thought is that they're saying there's more molecules in the glass of water than there are stars in the universe, which is also true. But yeah, good joke. It's a good joke. So,
Okay. Is there anything you disagree with me on?
Yeah, well, so I can be convinced, but want to talk a little about the puberty blockers issue.
Oh, good. New change of
Right.
topics. Okay.
Right. So first thing is, again, I can be convinced. I don't have a firm view, but I lean pretty heavily in favor
Of puberty blockers.
in favor of puberty blockers. Right?
Okay.
And what I want to talk about is the framework that I think needs to be used to consider it. And I haven't watched a whole lot of your shows when you've discussed it. I've watched a few, but haven't watched a whole lot, so I don't know exactly how you've approached it. But I think it is a trolley problem.
Okay.
Right? You're familiar with the trolley problem?
Yeah.
Let me just lay out the 2 basic trolley problems quickly. So the main one is there's a trolley, and it's going on a track, and you're standing by a lever that can switch it to another track.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't pull the lever, you know it's going to kill 5 guys working on the track. If you do pull the lever, it'll divert, and you know it'll hit 1 guy working on the track.
Yep.
And my intuition there is that you should pull the lever, right? I don't know what's same.
Yep. No, you save 4 lives.
Yeah. Okay. Right. But then the second one is you've got this trolley. You've got 5 guys on the trolley, but here you're on a bridge over the trolley, and there's a big guy sitting on the edge of the bridge, and you can't jump yourself because you're not big enough. But if you push that big guy over, he'll block the trolley, and it won't hit the 5 guys, but he'll die.
Yeah.
Right. My intuition here is no, that's not right. Right. Do you?
No, I
what do you
disagree.
think?
I'd push
Right?
that fat bastard in.
You think so? Yeah.
But I'm dead inside. This is why I would be a great leader. I mean, you have to be a little bit like me in order to run the world, because you got to make tough decisions like that.
Okay.
Like if you know with certainty
You know what?
that the guy's going to stop the train, and if you know with certainty that you're going to save 4 lives, you would be immoral and unethical not to push the fat guy.
Right. Well, what about if a guy needs? Well, let's leave it with that.
Yeah, you're going to go to the organ
the-
transplant, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
right.
these
Let's
are all
get
the
to the
philosophical type fun games. But anyhow, how does this apply to
So, but my
puberty
intuitions
blockers?
differ on the 2, and I'm not 100% sure why. But so the trolley problem, I think, applies to puberty blockers too, because if you don't flip the switch, right, you don't give a puberty blocker, there's going to be some harm to some trans people, right?
Mhm.
Talk about how much harm there is, but right, would you agree with that there's some harm by not doing puberty blockers?
Yeah.
And then, of course, if we flip the switch and give the puberty blocker, then various kinds of harm possible. Could be regret, right? Someone who didn't want to do it, but that one's mostly just coupled with irreversibility. So the question of whether it's irreversible is key there. And it's some people are saying, oh, it's irreversible, but that's not true. It just stops for a while. I assume at some point it becomes irreversible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's several years, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And then, of course, there's infertility people bring up. And then presumably, like any medication, there are other side effects, probably including death. I don't know. Again, I don't really know that.
Yep,
Assuming
could be, but probably rare.
right. So those are the questions. So
Yeah.
given what I know, well, so then the first question for you is what if you knew that 100% of people who take puberty blockers would not regret it and would not suffer any damage more than infertility?
More than
Where would you
infertility?
come in that?
Like, does that mean it includes infertility?
Well, so here, okay, let's say to start with, let's say not even infertility.
Okay.
100% with no harm.
So zero
100%
regret and
non-regret.
zero health problems. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm definitely with you there. Okay, wait, I have my notes here. Okay. What about if it's 99%? So 99%, let's say 99% don't regret and 1% suffer. God, what
Yeah, I'm okay with 99. Are you
infertility?
gonna...
Regret and infertility. And no, let's just say regret. Let's just say regret to start with. They regret and it's irreversible, so they're stuck with it.
So there's no regret, but they're infertile.
No. Let's start with there's regret. So 99% are happy with it. 1% regret.
Yeah. I think I'm just for fun. I think I would say then I'm against it. In other words,
yeah.
And here's why. Against it for a time, because you know my position that you should wait till your prefrontal cortex is fully developed.
Right, but obviously with puberty blockers, you can't do that. With surgery, obviously you can, and so on. But
right. So you're auctioning me downwards to a certain percent. You're asking me at what level, and I don't know what level I'd put it at.
Yeah.
But
it depends, of course. It depends, of course, on what kind of harm.
Yes.
The people who take it are suffering. So
yes, that's why
is it just uncomfortable, or is there a certain percentage who commit suicide?
Yeah, that's why I think I would stop it at 100. Because in your hypothetical thought experiment, you're basically saying at 100, or I'm saying at 100, there's no harm at all, not even the slightest little bit of discomfort, of regret, or if you don't. So yeah, I'll stop it at 100.
What about if 50% of the people who don't take the puberty blockers but want to commit suicide and wouldn't have otherwise? Does that change it? And we still have some percentage who regret.
It would if we had evidence that actually happened. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now it's my turn.
I guess it's possible to have. Okay, go.
Now it's my turn. Let's start with the suicide one. Do we have any evidence that taking puberty blockers actually decreases suicide?
So that's why I say I can be convinced, because I haven't studied this close enough. I'm really just
okay. The correct answer is no.
I don't know. I don't know if you're right. I suspect there have been some.
Currently,
there have been about 3,000 people who've taken puberty blockers. It's a small number, right? And there's never been a study on those people.
Currently, there's no studies of actual suicides that here's a group of people who took puberty blockers and here's a group of people who didn't. They're both suffering from dysphoria and X number of actual deaths versus actual number of actual deaths. We don't have that. We have every study that I've looked at is always talking about suicide risk ideation, people thinking about suicide.
Well, don't we have data on the percent of people who go from ideation to actual suicide?
For trans, for dysphoria?
Not
no.
for trans, just in general. In general, there probably is data.
Yeah, on that, I think there is data, but what I'm talking about is actual suicides for a certain, like that's what we're talking about, like a certain.
There's a small enough number
disorder.
that have done it that it's.
Yeah.
Which is another question. Do we want to be experimenting on kids?
Yeah.
When it is a small.
Like if you're concerned about suicide, you should be concerned about middle-aged white men because they know how to do it and they actually do it. Kids suck at committing suicide. So I'm totally against this emotional manipulation of, oh, I'm trans, do what I want, give me what I want, say what I want, and if you don't, I'll kill myself.
Yeah.
To me, that's no different. To me, that's no different than negotiating with a terrorist.
I mean, look, suicide, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go there. I attempted suicide myself. And I've taken drugs.
You're a middle-aged white man.
Antidepressants that have helped me from it.
Yeah.
Right. And if I hadn't taken those antidepressants,
How old were you when you tried?
Succeeded. I was 40, 45.
Yeah, you're way more at risk of actually committing suicide than a trans person. Middle-aged white men.
What percentage of teenagers who try end up?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Well, teenagers in general.
Yeah, I guess puberty is preteen them. So
yeah,
right.
But let's get back to the puberty blocker thing. Your cerebral frontal cortex doesn't fully develop till you're in your mid-20s. This is a fact. And what's also a fact is we know that kids can be confused. Fact. Yeah. We also know that you cannot determine who's trans and who's not using any scientific test. Fact.
Right. I think the same thing is true about depression. As far as I know, there's no test for depression.
Yeah, I'll even give that to you. Okay, but I think there are some correlations you can make. But anyhow, so my point is this: let's say you have a 14-year-old who's suffering from severe dysphoria. Number one, we don't know if that's going to go away or not. We have some studies called DCIS studies that place the DCIS, yeah, that place it anywhere from 50 to 80% of kids who suffer from some type of dysphoria that it just goes away on its own.
Okay, but of those kids, how many of them go through the process of being psychoanalyzed and go so far as have puberty blockers? And of course, that would change. The more
very small percent.
Blockers, the more, yeah, right.
What I'm saying with these DCIS studies, that you don't do anything, that you can still talk to them, but you're not giving them any drugs of any sort. No, definitely no surgery.
Well, we're talking about kids who aren't actually trans, right? That are.
How do you know if someone's trans? How do you know if someone's trans or not?
Well, you'll know by the time they're 28, right? Once their prefrontal cortex has.
Well, even then, how do you know if someone's trans or not?
Self-identifying.
Right.
I think it's the same as depression.
It's basically you take their word for it.
I self-identify as depressed.
Yeah.
And I also attempted suicide, which was a good sign of being depressed.
What do you think caused your depression?
It's chemical. Genetics, chemical, not a circumstance.
So no external factors in your opinion?
No. Yeah. When I attempted suicide, there were some external factors, but
did you get divorced?
Separated.
Yeah. That's definitely an external thing, right?
Yeah, but that's for the suicidal ideation or the suicide attempt. I had suicidal ideation well before that, and now I don't. Now that I take the medications, I have absolutely no suicide. Well,
do you think
suicidal?
I don't know that I'm not saying that drugs for depression are bad. I'm not saying that. But I want to ask you this question, and I want you an honest answer. Do you think there could have been any counseling you would have received during the time you got separated that would have at least lowered your suicide ideation without taking drugs?
Personally, I doubt it because I'm pretty resistant to counseling. But I think for many people, yes.
You don't seem like a person.
Yeah,
we're talking back and forth.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I
don't
could
know.
I could have been your counselor, non-licensed
But,
therapist.
I've never really seen a counselor for more than a very short time. I'm totally, and maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's a problem that they drugged me up without.
Yeah, like I definitely think you can take pills to make you feel better, but there's probably an underlying issue with you that the drugs are just masking, right?
Well, I think it's a chemical issue rather than a psychological issue.
Right. Everything. I'm a naturalist. I agree with you. Everything ultimately is down to chemicals,
Everything's all.
but I think you can actually control the chemicals in
You
your
can
brain.
change the chemicals through
Yeah,
chemistry.
through talking actually, and through even exercise and different things. I don't want to be like Tom
I
Cruise
think
and
I
be against all drugs, but I do think like if most teenagers nowadays, or not most, probably, but a big percentage would say they're depressed or suffer from anxieties and stuff. And I think a lot of these problems would fizzle away, or at least go down severely, if they got off their stinking phones and computers and went outside and exercised, work with
TikTok
animals.
is so toxic.
Animals are great for depression, like feed animals, care for animals. In other words, work on farms. It would be great. And you don't need drugs.
I'm a city boy, not like you. Working on a farm doesn't sound great to me. But
Anyhow, so getting back to the puberty blocker thing, my stance is this. My stance is that because we can't even be confident of who's trans and who's not, and because there's no scientific test, and because there is this thing called peer pressure, social contagion, that people who are feeling down.
I just don't think, for the people who go that far, who have the amount of counseling that it takes.
No, I'm talking before that.
To take puberty, but to go to the point where they actually will be diagnosed puberty blockers, I think you're going way beyond.
Yeah, okay.
You're not talking.
But they're diagnosed based on self-identification. They're diagnosed based all self stuff. That's the problem.
Right. I heard you say the one about your son and 10 people in theater.
Yeah.
Right? They're all in theater. Well, they're probably mostly gay, right? And,
I don't know about that.
And so determining, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people.
I just went to my son's theater thing yesterday, and they did 3 scripts, 3 productions in one night, and all 3 of them sucked. I told my son this. I said his performance was great. It seriously was, but the screenplay, the writing, it was just horrible. And there was especially one. They purposely made every character non-binary. I mean, like different names. Like, I mean, it was. I'm going like, what is wrong with you people? You're so desperate for attention that you just have to make everything non-binary now and nebulous and.
But when you talked about your son, you said that these 10 students all within a year realized they were not trans. So these are not
or non-binary, yeah.
Puberty block, or non-binary. Well,
yeah.
But these people are not going to be getting puberty blockers.
But here's
right?
I understand where you're going with this. You're saying, well, we're talking about the people who after several years, right? Right. Here's my point. If you can go 2-3 years, why not wait till your cerebral cortex is fully developed and then make the decision?
Well, you were saying wait till 28.
Yeah,
before?
I would say 28.
You think,
I might go down to 25. And you know what? Because the risks.
I think at least 21. You've got to be able to.
Well, yeah, I understand because of adulthood. Yeah,
age of consent being 18.
I understand, but the thing is, we do not know that they're going to commit suicide. We do not know that transitioning or even puberty blockers will lower that. You can intuit that, but we actually don't have any hard data on that. And why not just wait? Yeah, you're going to go through some tough years. Guess what? Everybody goes through tough years.
Well, the thing about puberty blockers being totally different than surgery is that it's irreversible if you go through puberty. That actually is.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm also of the opinion that this whole thing of being born in the wrong body is a bunch of crap.
Well, if you're a total denier of trans, then that's
Yeah, I'm actually becoming a total denier. Now, let me be very clear. I'm defining trans as something very specific in this case, as the idea of someone's self experience as being born in the wrong body. That's how I'm defining trans, okay? Now, if you define trans that way, I'm saying publicly, trans does not exist. We have no evidence that that exists. Like literally, that you can, and if you think intuitively, how does that even make sense? That someone can actually be born in the wrong body. You almost have to become a theist who believes we have some type of soul separate from our body. You have to be some type of dualist to say that you're born, you, the real you, is separate from your body. And I'm not a dualist.
I don't know any trans people personally, but I've seen them on TV. I've seen ones who talk about it a lot and who are older and have for many years had this feeling. I mean, like what's her name? Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, right?
Yeah.
I
Bruce.
actually haven't seen her that. I actually haven't seen her that much. There are others that I've seen more, but at that age, you don't think he knows. Now, of course, he did not take puberty blockers, or she did not take puberty blockers, and and life goes on, right? So that's one thing. I don't know whether she had surgery or not. Life can go on even without surgery. People have been trans, from what I hear, forever. From what I hear, there are certain Indian tribes where they have a third sex, and they actually have words for it that go back.
You put Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce Jenner 2,000 years ago in any culture in the United States, and I'd make the claim that no culture would Caitlyn view herself as Caitlyn. She'd be Bruce, who's very effeminate and maybe gay, and maybe a third sex, like you said. Like even the people from Thailand,
Third sex as opposed to trans sex, yeah.
Like even lady boys in Thailand with penises and big boobs, they don't view themselves as women. They view themselves as lady
Not historically,
boys.
at least.
Yeah, lady boys. It's a combination of two. And so, yeah, this whole thing, like, let me ask you some rapid fire questions here. Do you think people born with a penis, should compete with women in sports?
So, the rationality rules. Video
Lean
on
yes,
that.
lean no.
Fantastic video. So lean no.
Good.
Although that rationality rules one that he got in so much hot water with the left for, does an incredible job of going through all the issues. At the end of the day, and he takes a nuanced view and says depends on this and that. Unfortunately, I'm a lawyer, and I think that
You're a lawyer?
Nuanced views are. I am.
Okay.
Nuanced views are great, but you can't make a rule that says only if you don't have the testosterone, you don't have this. So I'm inclined. So I lean towards saying that there needs to be a category.
What? Why? Okay, I phrased it as lean, but would you and I be agreed that it should be just a hard no?
I'm not sure. It depends on the sport, probably.
Okay.
And maybe it depends. Maybe it depends on whether you took puberty blockers. I don't know. I don't have a firm view.
Are you aware that boys ages 6, 7, and 8 consistently do better in sports that involve speed and strength than girls at age 6, 7, and 8? Meaning puberty has nothing to do with it.
But Serena and Venus Williams do significantly better than most boys. Most at that age.
Oh, come on, you're a lawyer. You know that's a terrible argument. Right?
Again, I lean towards the categorical rule, but I'm not willing at this point. I'm not willing to take a hard stand on it.
Like if you're comparing apples to apples, professionals against professionals, Serena is a garbage tennis player compared to men. Garbage. I'll make that claim.
I think the 200th best man can easily do it.
Yeah, and probably I'd bet money a top 10 high school boy would clean Serena's clock. Yeah.
Top 10 in the whole country?
Yeah. So this whole argument. So the point is, you should just say categorically, if you're born with a penis, you'd play men's sports, and if you're not born with a penis, you play in women's sports. Intersex, play with men. Done. And if that makes some people sad and cry, let them be sad and cry. Let trans people cry. It's okay. But Doug, and the only argument they have to this, David, is they're going to commit suicide. And this gets back to the emotional manipulation. Do we know of any trans person who was denied sports who committed suicide? One. Give me one case that we can say it's because they were denied opportunity to play
even
sports.
if they did, that's still not.
Yeah, even if they did, we could say, well, that was their choice. Yeah.
There are depressed people who commit suicide. So anyway, good talking to you.
Okay, thanks, David.
So I've been an atheist. I was a diehard Catholic until I was 10.
Till you're 10. Yeah, your cerebral frontal cortex wasn't fully developed. So I'm not going to give you any credit for converting there or deconverting.
All right, good talking to you.
See ya. I suffer from feel sorry for biological women. I admit it. It's a numbers game. There's more of them than trans. So, disagree regarding Ukraine. Oh, this will be good. Oh, you're back. Okay. If someone else wants to call in, feel free.
Yeah, hello. So I remember that you mentioned something about aid for Ukraine should be also diminished or stopped from US side, and I think I disagree with you there. If that was the position you held.
Yeah. I think it's an endless war.
Well, I think not even regarding the Ukrainians dying or any other kind of things related to personally just to Ukraine. I think there's a benefit first to support the European Union in a way, just in terms of fighting the war which harms European Union by itself, and then also any related country. Making it longer, it doesn't help us here locally because there's divisions in the European Union regarding these kind of things, like Hungary and then other things happening. So it's not beneficial in terms of strategic allies. And plus
Ukrainian, I mean, okay, I'm going to sound very selfish here, but Ukrainian is of no benefit to the United States as an ally.
No, but I'm not talking about Ukraine. I'm talking about other allies who are right now supporting at least some part. And then if US kind of reduces its aid just a little bit, maybe that won't make a difference. But if it's kind of stopped altogether or mostly, then there will be also kind of loss of trust from EU. And then
you do realize Americans really don't even have. There's a big percentage of Americans who actually don't care much for the EU or NATO or the UN.
Well, Well, there are many who don't care about atheism also, so
Yeah, and that's fine.
so
It's
or
about
many
specific
other things.
ideas, right? It's about what about the UN should we care about? What about the NATO we should care about? And
Yeah,
right
I'm
now
saying more specifically.
okay.
Yeah, I mean the general global politics that influence also the earnings of US. I mean, there's trade going on, and obviously in some cases US wins out. You know, if everybody else is poor and the US only has like together with Canada and Mexico, let's say, make a big production unit, and then everybody gets stuff only from there, then obviously you do get benefit from there. But if the whole world is poorer, then also there's less less demand for the US stuff, right? And in some ways it diminishes the whole world, right? So there's, you know, if there's all the time the wars, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the broken window fallacy, and so it's better not to have that.
But specifically, why should the US
conflict.
give Ukraine money specifically, other than just saying to support the UN? Like,
No, it's not UN
or NATO.
I'm talking about. Well, because it makes the situation worse for Russia, and Russia is an ally of North Korea, of sorts, of North Korea and China, and these are the kind of primary enemies, let's say, of US.
Well, you can put on sanctions against Russia, which the United States did and NATO did.
Or that, yeah, if the sanctions would be very tough, very strong, because now they don't seem to work in many cases, because the US,
I said this as soon as the Ukraine war started. When all the sanctions started being put on, I said, guess what? Russia put a middle finger up. They don't care.
Yeah, so these are not strong enough. If that would be an alternative, I mean, I'm up for any alternative.
Well, the reason why they don't care is,
by the way, so that's I'm biased, obviously.
And it's not a matter of having the sanctions strong enough. It is because Russia is basically self-sufficient. They're like a United States. They have all the energy needs they need. They have agriculture. Once you have energy and food and water, what really do you need from other countries?
For war, they need just more than just self-sustaining themselves. They need not just technology. I mean, they still need to import certain things to keep it up. I mean, I'm sure they can produce on their own, but just to keep up, they need a bit more stuff. And if it's made harder for them, then at some point they will be starting to kind of tighten up and kind of pushing themselves more, and then making more people in Russia more disappointed. And there would be enough then to make a resistance of sorts. I mean, if they would lose more soldiers there, probably there would be enough of disagreement with that at some point. And especially the ones that would be productive workers. I mean, they might have enough of resources to use in the land, but they need also their workers. And if the workers are not there because they're all at war, or a significant portion.
Like I have an answer, but if you were to steel man Putin in Russia, what's the steel man? Why did they invade Ukraine in the first place? What would be the steel man answer?
Probably several good reasons for them as an empire of sorts. It's not like it's my own ideas. I'm mostly hearing other people's opinions that it's just a good strategic thing for them to use the moment when there's a lot of turmoil, and then there is a gap still where it's possible for them to attack Ukraine because it's not strong enough yet. And then, because every year they're preparing better and better. And so there's a point where it's still feasible for them to achieve something. And if they would have achieved much more, if they would be doing it better, right? So they were near Kiev at some point, but then they retreated.
From my understanding, it's because of Crimea? Because they got
Crimea.
Yeah. And because a lot of their own people, I don't know to what degree, but and what word to use, but a lot of Russian sympathizers living in Ukraine were being harassed by non-Russian sympathizers in Ukraine. In fact, they would call Ukrainians Nazis. They would view them as wretched people picking on them and their people.
You know, they probably were doing some ethnic cleansing there.
Yeah.
You know, the Ukrainians towards the
Yeah.
towards the Russians.
I think Russia would say that. Yeah. So it's again, it's actually quite similar to the, well, no, it's different, but it's all about this whole pride and culture, pride and ethnicity, pride in this and power. And I think the solution with the Ukraine thing is divide it in two, give Russia the south half, and give Ukrainians the north half, and then we're done.
Yeah, I think
that would stop the
anything about
killing.
Just well, definitely many of those would. You know, you could say that about many places which are like, well, of mixed population. You know, it's just like, okay, you split it up, and then like you had civil war, and well, not you were not born then yet, but in the civil war in United States, that was about just splitting off and just saying, well, we don't agree. And the South wanted to just go their own way, but they were prevented. And now you're living in a united country, and there's still some people wanting secession, right? So why not just split up the U.S.?
Well, the reason why we don't split up the U.S. is because so far there isn't this huge animosity and fighting going on. But it might come to the point someday that it might happen, and we will need to split up the U.S.
You know, you might start with California.
I say we sell California to the Canadians. Then I think we should take our military, go into Mexico. The U.S. should take its military and take over Mexico, fix it up, and then flip it to China and pay off the debt.
Okay,
I
that
mean,
gets interesting.
I'm being
Yeah, we're
facetious.
playing Risk now.
Mexico's a beautiful country, by the way. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's too bad the government there sucks.
Sure. Yeah, well, there are probably many places like that.
Yeah.
Which look nice, but people there, oh my.
Yeah. Anyhow, thanks for...
there's a saying. Yeah, just a short thing. There's a saying about Russia that there are two problems: roads and dumbasses, like two stupid people. And then there's another saying about Russia that it's a country for stupid people, or of the stupid people. And I say, well, stupid people also need a country. It might be just Russia, but then you have those problems. So it's like we get into this like, well, we're trying to be smarter about this, even about religion and politics, but there are stupid people, and then they disagree, right? So I think ultimately it's about, you know, getting smarter or just acknowledging that you're dumb, and then we can start talking when we recognize our stupidity there. So.
Yeah, maybe if you realize about yourself that your IQ is below 80, you shouldn't reproduce. There's some
one strategy,
some IQ cleansing, right? Yeah. Okay, take care. Thanks for calling back.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Autistic Berserker, you've been so busy in the live stream chat. Save your fingers from typing. Just come on in. Or anybody else can call in. It's that whole thing about too much pride in your culture, too much pride in your ethnicity. I can sort of see having pride in culture, but pride in ethnicity? Why? Should not be proud for being black or brown or beige or white or whatever. Should be proud about what you achieve. And if you haven't achieved anything, you shouldn't be proud of much. Oh, truth hurts. You should not be proud of who you are in terms of things you haven't earned. Autistic berserker won't call in. He's too scared. I'm using that as reverse psychology. Manipulating his emotions with my words, with my sound waves. My main question was about 18-year-olds in the military. Why is it okay, not 18-year-old trans? Well, actually, if you've listened to my program often, I said, yeah, legally 18. But as an opinion, as advice, I'd say wait to 28. But yeah, I agree. If you're going to let kids in the military at 18, then they should be able to transition legally at 18. I agree with you. Next. I just say, if someone's asking my advice, my opinion, say, wait till your brain is fully developed. And I'll put all my cards on the table. People who suffer from depression and anxiety, for whatever reason, whether it's being trans or other reasons, I cannot relate to you, so don't expect me to. Even intellectually, it's really hard to me to relate to you because we all have bad days. And to me, it's a bit of narcissism to say, well, my depression's bigger than your depression. Or I mean, yeah, we all go through bad days, bad times. Some people go through bad years. Suck it up. Your goal should be strong to get stronger as a human. So the bleeding heart progressives, you can go to them and get all the hugs and I understand as you want. And then my job in society is to be that on the other side, to say, you know what, maybe it's your fault. Maybe you need to get stronger. Take concrete steps to make your life better. There you go. Why is it such a big deal that you need to talk about it all the time? All the time? Be honest with yourself. This live stream has been going on for 2 hours, 28 minutes, roughly. The vast majority of it has not been about trans or women's sports or any of that. Truth. That's the truth. And you can watch any of my live streams and say the same thing. Except for the live streams where it's devoted to that topic, which on my other channel, I might have one or two. The reason why people like Autistic Berserker don't want me to talk about trans is because I make sense. I resonate with people. I actually change people's minds on these topics. And they don't want me talking about it. You're not going to change my mind, Doug, because I'm dogmatic and I'm I would love to see Doug versus Matt talk about the trans issue. Yeah. Matt, if you're listening, call on in. You're remembering the hits and forgetting the misses, Autistic Berserker. This is a very typical, common psychological phenomenon. You care about the trans issue, so whenever you hear me talk about it, you think this is all I talk about, or mostly what I talk about it. It's like me seeing 11:11 on the clock all the time. I look at the clock, I see 11:11. I mean, it's freakish how many times I see 11:11. But truth be told, how many times do I look at the clock and it's not 11:11? I forget the misses, but I remember the hits. That's what's going on with you right now, Autistic Berserker. The truth hurts. But I am sick and tired of this whole feel sorry for-ism of, do you support these people? Do you support that people? I'm to the point where I don't support anyone. Support yourself. Oh. oh, but I'm a poor person living in one of the greatest countries in the world called the United States, and oh, woe is me. Yeah. Tell that to people, like, bring this back to Gaza. I should make a video, a compilation of people complaining about not feeling accepted or people not using their pronouns, and put that side by side, juxtapose it to people dying in Gaza right now. Yeah. Grow up, trans people. If you want people to feel sorry for you, you're going about it the wrong way. Especially when you start talking about how people are not calling you by your preferred pronoun or using your dead name. Oh, poor you. How's that for tough love? That's tough love to the extreme, right? Room's open. David says amen. What are you saying amen for, David? Oh, and the other David, David Chamberlain. What kind of lawyer are you? I forgot to ask you that. Put it in the live stream chat if you're still listening. I might need you someday. That's why I ask. Just too many cisphobes out there nowadays. I'm sure Autistic Berserker is a cisphobe. Yeah, I understand Matt Dillahunty's flying off the handle with Theus often. It does get very tiresome. This is why I think I have a huge advantage over Matt, because I don't care as much as he does. I can shake it off easier. But it even gets to me. I think Danny's PineCreek's kryptonite on this trend. What are you talking about? Usually people on the trans issue agree with the facts I present. Number one, there's no scientific test to show someone's trans. Does anybody disagree with that? There's no scientific test that can objectively say you're born in the wrong body. Does anybody disagree with this? Number three, there's no hard data on the number of people who've actually committed suicide because they're trans. In the United States, at least. Does anybody disagree with this? Like, how many trans people commit suicide in the year 2022 because they were trans? Can you give me a number? A scientific paper that actually gives me a number? It was 42 or 420? No. There is, point number 4, there is zero hard data evidence that transitioning or puberty blockers or whatever decreases actual suicides. Anybody disagree with this? No. Someday there might be that data, but as of today, no. Point number 5. 69% of the United States public think women's sports exist for a reason. Because males dominate females on strength, agility, and speed. Flexibility, I think women are better. You know what's really scary is there's male and female, there's men and women's chests. Did you know that? There's men and women's chess. There's men and women's poker. Which have nothing to do with speed and strength. Riddle me that. Why does men and women's poker exist? Why does men and women's chess exist? And what's funny is when I was talking to the transatlantic, the guy, what's his name? Ben? So, well, the reason why 6, 7, 8-year-olds boys do better than 6, 7-year-old girls is because of the way they've been socially trained and expectations. Okay, even if that's true, and it has nothing to do with biology, even if he's right. And again, I said he, right? Then there's still an unfair advantage outside of puberty. So not only do you have to provide puberty blockers to make it fair, but you have to decondition their socialization of when they were young and how the fathers trained them to throw a ball and stuff. Really? You want to go there? Someone just mentioned the word patriarchy. Yeah. To me, it is very patriarchal. How do you say that word? It's patronizing to have men win beauty pageants, women's beauty pageants. Like, men are taking over the world. Where are you women standing up for yourselves? Taking over the world. Well, not really, but. I tell you, some of them are good looking too. I don't want to say they're all ugly, but I mean, you can't beat a natural born woman in terms of beauty. I dare show me the best looking trans woman, and I can show you a better looking cis woman. 3 cheers for cis. Oh, this is so much fun triggering people. 3 cheers for cis. I mean, the cis people are being oppressed. How come Doug backed off Holy Spirit argument for trans? I didn't back off. Hey, Rob, haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? I'm doing well. I haven't seen you active lately. Are you okay? It's almost like real women are better at being women. Nice one, Mike. Caitlyn Jenner is stunning and beautiful. I wonder if Caitlyn watches Bruce on video and has memories of being a man. What's that like? Oh, you ask tough questions, Ivy. Do you think the Republican Lincoln was justified invading the South? I think so, yeah. Could have been done a better way without so much bloodshed? Probably, but I don't know. I think that's what you're really asking, right? Hey, don't get me wrong. I've seen attractive trans women too. But I'm saying if we were to have a competition based on looks alone, trans women would lose every time to the top trans women. Comparing apples to apples. No, that's funny. You can't really compare trans women to Real women. Yeah, I said it. Real women. Because they are, based on my definition. Oh, you're doing a parallel to the Ukraine issue. I see. But I do agree with, what's his name? Autistic Berserker, that the trans issue is actually not an issue anymore. The trans supporters, I'm not picking on trans people per se. I'm picking on mostly the activists. They have lost that argument. They're done. You okay, Rob?
Yes, I am.
You're not going through any existential midlife crisis or anything?
Oh, no. I had to upset one of your viewers. Total buzzkill right now that I've come onto your stream.
Oh, what did you upset him with?
Just appearing.
Oh,
I bet that person.
Just being here.
Yeah.
No, but I haven't seen you. You haven't done anything on your channel lately, right?
No, not for a while. Just been, just life kicking in. I've moved. I had to make a whole house move and basically survive. So
survive financially?
Yeah. I would have been homeless actually. So anyway, so we sold up, paid off all the debts. My dad had cancer actually, and the cancer put a lot of debt on the family. So anyway, we're just keeping our head above water basically. And I've just been busy working.
But your dad died years ago, right?
No, my opa.
Oh, okay. So when did is your dad did pass or no?
Yeah. No. He's fine. He's recovered.
Okay. So your dad had cancer recently, and this is in Australia, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I thought you have universal health care there.
We do. And then we had to refinance the house because added bills were kicking in. Plus, as far as work goes, the breadwinners was basically me. And yeah. So it was like a long drawn out, you're talking over 5 years worth of a slow decline and eating into the savings. So
tell me you didn't have to start an OnlyFans account. You know what that is?
No. It just clicked. No, I did start a fund through a Christian organization, a fund, which was absolutely incredible. The amount of support that came through that.
You got more from OnlyFans. You would have got more from OnlyFans. You're a good-looking guy. There's a lot of gay men and women, that would have taken care of you financially.
Hey, but hang on. So I'm a cis man. Would I beat a trans man?
Oh yeah. There's not a trans man alive who could beat you in looks.
Because I'm only just getting acquainted with all these terms, trans woman, trans.
It's actually a misnomer. Trans women should really be called trans men, and trans men should really be called trans women, because trans women, as usually used, are men who become women, but they're really a trans man because they are a man transitioning to a woman. So that you should start with what you start with. So everything's backwards and it's confusing.
Yeah. I actually got into a mini debate with a trans woman at an engagement party 3 days ago. And he argued, it's now she. She argued that when it comes to sports, so a cis. There's a runner. I forgot the name of the runner, but there's a cis woman runner who has a natural inclination, like biological inclination, to produce a lot of testosterone.
Yeah,
And
a manly woman.
she's like a freak of nature in that sense, and therefore, if she were to compete in the men's division in running, like she should, because like all the other women are at a massive disadvantage. So then the argument was, if that can happen naturally, biologically, why not have trans men compete in men's
Okay.
running and trans?
I've heard this
women in
argument too.
women-
I've heard this argument too.
Yeah.
And this is how you answer it. I wish you would remember the woman's name. You don't remember the name?
No, I think it starts with a C, as far as I remember. But it's like apparently she's like.
I'll make this claim. If the name comes up, I'll bet money on anyone here who's willing to take the bet. The most freakish woman who has a lot of testosterone, who's beating other women, talking all cis here, would still, if we're comparing apples to apples, let's say she's an elite. If she is beating a lot of women, she would be an elite runner, right? She'd be Olympic level. You compare her in any event to Olympic men, she will get creamed, smashed, roasted, toasted. She will not compete against men of her same apples to apples level. So this is the argument against. This is the reason why we have women's sports and men's sports, is because, yes, you will have variation among women and you'll have variation among men. Like that swimmer, what's his name, from the United States, who had 8 gold medals. What was his name?
Michael something?
Yeah, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
He was also a freak. Even the guy who doped the cyclist from the U.S., he doped, but he was still freakish. You're going to have variation amongst the two genders, and there's only 2, by the way. But the reason why we separate men and women is because even the freaks within women cannot compete against the normal, and let alone the freaks among men. That's why we have women's sports exist. So these arguments of this one woman in this one area is freakish, so therefore we should allow trans people or whatever. No, that's nuts. When you compare the percentiles of both distribution curves, it's not a comparison.
And is it true that, for example, trans women in women's sports, like say powerlifters, is it true that more often than not, it's the trans woman that wins? Because the argument I was told was, no, that it's the one-off outlier win by a trans woman that then makes the news. And
well, there's not very many.
Everyone.
It's true that there's a very small percentage of people, of trans women in women's sports. That's true. But there are clear examples of trans women winning. But the argument shouldn't even be that. The argument should be like, who cares about winning? It's sometimes getting 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th matters when it comes to qualifying for the Olympics, right? So if a man competes with women and is basically a mediocre man, actually even a bottom 20% man in sports, but can be a top 80% in women's sports, that's still unfair.
Yeah.
Like if they get 6th place and they only take the top 6 to the Olympics on a particular event, that's not fair. And so if the argument is fairness, it's a no-brainer. There should be no men and women's sports.
And the other one, probably the last argument that was made was, oh, now they've allowed open categories, so
which is called men's
like
sports.
There's a category specific for women.
Open category is men's sports.
Right, but for example, a cis woman can come into that man sports category.
Yeah. They have the right to come in and lose. Yeah. The reason why basically men's sports are all open category is because most women are not stupid enough to compete against men if they actually want to win. But you can't go the other way around and have women's sports open, because there would be no women winning. anymore.
Yeah. So I was being quite diplomatic in the discussion. I didn't want to like upset the party, but I basically, to sort of needle my way through it, I said, look, I guess it all boils down to a psychological drive in this entire thing. It's not a so-called I don't think it's biological. I think there's a psychological, like there are some who psychologically genuinely may feel I feel to be a certain gender, but then at the same time there could be some who fit the narcissistic, tendency of like no one has say a genuine, honest, sort of like humble, like not, in other words, there are some who may have an agenda just to prove a point, and I reckon this whole gender debate thing comes from, like, not all, but some have an agenda or like an axe to grind, basically. So
Yeah, I don't disagree.
yeah.
Did you watch the debate between Matt Dillahunty and the Crucible last night?
No, but I saw David Wood and Aaron Ra, and to be honest, I loved it because I agreed with both. Like, I could see David Wood and Aaron Ra as basically being the two wheels of the same cart.
It's funny.
But what happened with Matt Dillahunty?
Well, I don't know. But people have been talking about it. Apparently, Matt Dillahunty walked out.
Oh.
So maybe I should show that clip. But I was on Twitter today, and Jonathan McClatchy said, "Why do we still platform Aaron Ra?" And I said to Jonathan, "Are you going woke on me, Jonathan? If David Wood is willing to dialogue, why not? What's the worst that can happen?" And then this guy Nathan jumps in. It's not about the ideas. It's his demeanor, Aaron's demeanor. There are far better interlocutors who defend the same ideas while not being that insufferable. And then I said, isn't that a win for theism and David Wood then? If Aaron comes off as a jerk, that only helps David. Yes. Again, what's there to lose? Christians, with the aid of the Holy Spirit, you should be able to handle Aaron with patience.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, Aaron actually can be a genuine gentleman. For example, in that debate that you saw, if the interlocutor is also like David Wood, he is now basically a professional debater. He's come a long way as well, and he means well. And so, especially with Matt Dillahunty's debate with Hikachu, what's his name? Daniel Hikachu.
Daniel, yeah.
And I suppose the cat's out of the bag with Islam and say, basically pedophilia, really. I've noticed that.
You know what? You broke up.
Oh, sorry. I have a tab open and suddenly. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were playing music. No, I have EFW tab open and they started their stream, so I thought you were playing Muslim music.
No, it wasn't me.
Just as I'm speaking about, Aisha and pedophilia in Islam. But basically, I've noticed that there are atheists now, and maybe you can verify if this is the case. There are atheists now that are actually appreciating a pushback against Muslims now, especially radical Muslims, even by, say, Christians. And so I've noticed, say, Dillahunty and Aaron Ra's demeanor against, say, David Wood as being a lot more respectful.
Yeah, which is, I'm sure, sets up cognitive dissonance for them in a way, because a part of Matt Dillahunty, I think, has bought into that whole woke thing. White people are oppressors. I'm not sure how much of that Matt Dillahunty believes, but and to even say anything negative of people of color, i.e., most Muslims, is kind of a you can't really do. My guess is Matt Dillahunty's never been that way, but so I shouldn't say he was. But yeah, I think for a lot of atheists, they kind of have to go, yeah, we need to push against some people of color, i.e., Muslims.
Mhm.
Not to say all Muslims.
I completely. By the way, I listened. I have been listening to you, Doug, even though I've been busy. I've been listening to your streams with like the recent Hamas stuff. Your non-PC statements that we're dealing with a bunch of retards, interbred retards, basically. Just again, and then you there was a remark you said, like a 10-to-1 ratio, like
Yeah.
if you were to kill one, a factor of 10 in return. It sounds cold. I sympathize with the pain of those people because I used to live in a third world country. I know what it's like. But when such an atrocity happens like that, you need to root it out. It needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, people think it's so harsh, but
eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, ironically, is in the text. So,
well, no, I'm saying I'm against eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. I think sometimes it's 10 eyes for one eye, 10 teeth for one teeth. And for people who think that's harsh, imagine your own family for decades being picked off, one here, two there, one there, two there. At some point, you got to go, okay, we're going to take out, okay, you killed one of my family members. We're killing 10 of yours until you stop this nonsense. And sometimes, unfortunately, people, you can't reason, you can't talk. It's just, that's what it will take to change things. And even then, it might not change anything. Like, because when you have an ideology that says, I'd rather die than give an inch to you, well, let's oblige them.
and then all that aid that go, like, all the charities that give them money and the government trying to give them money, and that money is then used to build that underground network.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So
why hasn't Hamas set up water and electricity with that money? Like, there's so many people complaining, all those bad Jews who are cutting off water and electricity from the Gaza Strip. Well, hasn't Hamas got money? Why don't they use that money to build wells, buy solar panels?
would you agree with me? So this is my non-PC statement here. Would you agree with me that, I mean, I'm speaking as a religious person, right? But I do agree with Hitchens that religion is toxic. Religion is what was that famous saying he said? Like religion
poisons everything.
Yeah, but religion poisons everything. So the first chapter of the Quran, it's short, it's like 7 verses. It starts with the most merciful, the most benevolent. Like the second last verse says, show us the straight way. And then the last verse goes, not the way of the Jews and the Christians whom your wrath is against. And apparently when Muslims pray 5 times a day, they recite Surah 1 with that in mind 5 times a day for 365 days of the year. Psychologically, what do you think that does to you? So the Jews are an ethnic group, but Christian could be any ethnic group, because you can be an African, you could be Russian, you could be Chinese, you could be Australian. In other words, all of humanity that is not non-Muslim is in that verse, and you're psychologically thinking about Allah's wrath and your wrath through Allah.
Yeah.
So Hamas and when these people do what they do, there is a religious motivation. Why aren't your CNN and all these news anchors, when they start and like here in Perth, again, when I was at that, I was actually at a wedding prior to this engagement party, and all these protests like Free Palestine and this notion of dry them into the sea. The irony of ironies is that later that day, all those Muslims chanting that would recite Surah 1 and then thinking about Allah's wrath against practically every non-Muslim in this world. Like, the hypocrisy is just, yeah. Like, name me one Christian, or not just a Christian, any other religious person, a Hindu, who daily thinks about the genocide and the killing of non-Hindus.
Oh, can you see that?
It's slightly.
There you go.
There we go. Now I can see. Yeah.
How would you answer this question?
Yeah, I become atheist. I was once an atheist, and to be honest, atheists, I have no issues with atheists. I don't find atheists to be "quote unquote" evil. They're just they're atheos. It's like a non.
Some atheists smell bad though. They don't have the best hygiene.
Yeah.
Some atheists are fat. Yeah, I don't like.
To be
those
honest,
atheists.
they're good beer drinking buddies. That's for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, some of them swear too much. But anyhow, I gotta let you go.
Anyway, that's kind of like my rant on that issue. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to talk about that anymore. But I'm glad that things are better for you and your family, and sorry that it was
Thank you, I
bad
appreciate
for a while.
yeah.
And,
I hope you're well.
and keep your dignity and don't start the OnlyFans account.
Okay.
See you, Rob.
All right. Catch you, Doug.
%84 say this actually should be a question for just Christians. I would love to know how Christians would answer this. I should post this on Twitter. I refuse to say X, by the way. That should be a national American poll. Would you rather have the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip become atheists or just stay Muslim? Actually, to build a bridge for Christians, I would say Christians, you need to convert the Muslims into Mennonites in the Gaza Strip. Pacifists. They lay down their weapons. Say, Israel, if you want to kill us, go ahead. We're ready to go. Okay, I wanted to check to see if Matt Dillahunty actually walked out of a debate here.
I'm just like, why?
If you'd like the, can you want a
You don't have anything to worry about.
terminate? So in order to avoid that, we need to make everybody on planet Earth lie to them. This is human flourish. Just redefine shit, pretend it's true. How laughably absurd this worldview is. Matt will often say, I remain unconvinced. Well, Matt, I'm also going to use your standard. I need for you to 100% convince me beyond a shadow of a doubt that males can have babies. What's the answer going to be? No, Andrew, you big stupid. Males can't have babies. Men can have babies. Because we just defined man to include females, dummy. Well, Matt, I remain unconvinced. I'd like Matt to convince me that if you are a male and you are having sex with another male.
So far, why do I have the sneaking suspicion I'm going to agree with Andrew Wilson here more than Matt Dillahunty?
Which would not be allowed in my version of a secular humanist worldview. How is it that you're not just basically having sex with a guy with a wig on? I really want to know the answer to that question. Not just me, but all rational people who aren't lunatics also want to know why it's ma'am isn't a complete and total crock of garbage. Because I remain unconvinced that it isn't a total lie, and that these people don't just pervert the language to include their own perversions and then add human flourishing at the end. Matt has said he wouldn't make a law stopping 9-year-olds from having sex with each other. Not kidding. Now, I know this is going to sound a little bit totalitarian, but I would in fact create laws that made it a crime for a 9-year-old to have sex with their 9-year-old. I would hold the parents criminally liable for allowing this to happen in my evil authoritarian society, where I don't even let 9-year-olds have sex or the parents go straight to jail for negligence. Now, I think that's better for human flourishing. I think maybe parents would be far less likely to let their 9-year-olds do that if they went to jail.
And according to the timestamps, see, Coming up soon in 4 minutes, Matt leaves. So I'm seeing what leads up to him leaving.
Stupid me. Next, I would in my authoritarian society decree that all simulated sex acts in public were criminal offenses and would make sure that all people went to prison for the crime of indecency, which doesn't assist with human flourishing, and I'd like to know why I'm wrong. Secular humanism can basically be whatever the hell you want it to be. It doesn't really need the principle of freedom or the starting axiom of freedom and peace in order
Can't Christianity be whatever the hell you want it to be?
to postulate whatever it wants.
No, you can't. Not according to orthodoxy. Sorry, my apologies, Andrew.
Sloganeering. They're slogans. They don't mean anything. Okay? Why do 9-year-olds need to be able to have sex in order to advance humanity? Why do we need to lie about a person's sex in order to advance humanity? Why are these things necessary for human flourishing? Why are decency laws bad? Why would Christian ethics stop flourishing when the theist mandate is to reproduce and the secular mandate is let's just all have sex and have fun, bro? That sounds way worse for human flourishing. In fact,
Yeah, so basically, for those of you who don't know, the topic of the debate is Christianity versus secular humanism, which has the best ethical foundation. To me, that's a horrible topic because it's just a matter of opinion. Because I'm a naturalist, his opinion is going to be the Bible and God and the church, and Matt's opinion is going to be society through years of testing and learning of the social contract of what makes the best society, blah, blah, blah. That's it, right? And how can you prove one or the other wrong? It's really difficult. Basically, for this side, for what Matt has to do is just cause doubt that this God even exists, would be the root of the issue.
fact, I would say not reproducing is the worst possible thing for human flourishing, because if there's no humans, how do you flourish? So, I guess...
Yes, Ash, I did talk to Andrew. Ironically enough, I think Andrew likes me, and I kind of like him. I agree with a lot of the things he says. I do think secular humanism has become like a religion, especially in the United States. I'm against that.
In essence, step one, I remain unconvinced. Step two, I need to be convinced, so I am no longer unconvinced. And step three, but God not real though doesn't matter here. I've already granted it to still demonstrate just how stupid this ideology actually is.
Interesting. He's granting God's not real and saying secular humanism is still stupid. I like it.
With that, I'll yield my time, and I'm happy to get into it.
Hey, James, I just sent you a message.
All right. We are going to kick it into an open discussion, so 50 minutes, and let's kick it.
No, I don't think so.
What?
I'm not going to sit here and dignify the preparation that I went through and what people were here for.
You're so indignant.
Keep interrupting me.
I am.
Okay.
You're so indignant.
Would the moderator like to step in so that I can finish what I'm saying?
Please, Matt. Please. How dare someone have an opposing worldview?
I'm not going to sit here and dignify what was supposed to be a debate about Christianity versus secular humanism, which one's better for the world.
Yes.
With someone who clearly showed up with an agenda that has nothing to do with that. Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
Someone who misrepresents a quote from a debate where I said I wouldn't make a law about 9-year-olds having sex being legal with respect to the 9-year-olds, not that I was in any way in favor of it and that I was actually opposed to it, which I addressed during that debate. But moreover, this is not remotely an honest interaction on the front of whether or not secular humanism is valuable. Because this, when he presented his position here, has nothing to do with secular humanism.
Oh, Matt. Okay. Let's assume Matt Dillahunty is 100% right. That whatever Andrew just said, and I think I played half of what he said. Let's assume Matt's right. Give your position, Matt. You can just ignore Andrew. But instead, what I think Matt's about to do as be offended to such a degree by Andrew's statement that he's going to up and leave, rather than just give his position. This is why I espouse the doctrine of be more dead inside. If Matt was like me and a little more dead inside, he could just let it slide. Say, oh, Andrew Wilson is a schmuck. He didn't come prepared. So be it. I'm going to give my spiel of why secular humanism is better than Christianity in terms of ethical foundations, and that be that. But Matt Dillahunty can't do that. It's not in his DNA. Maybe I shouldn't blame him if it's not in his DNA. He cannot, his programming is such that he cannot dignify it with a response.
From the get-go, it's all about me. Matt thinks, Matt thinks, Matt thinks. I'm giving what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks.
Matt's position.
I came in with the Secular Humanist Manifesto. I came in with positions that aren't just...
Let's hear them. Matt came in with positions. Let's hear them. Just ignore. You can at least make an opening statement, Matt.
That aren't merely my positions.
Oh, well, as long as multiple people hold the position, it
this
makes it
guy's
valid.
not serious, and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you
well,
let me know.
good day, sir. And
oh, I wonder how much they get paid. If you want a refund, I want to know how much they get paid. Maybe I'll start doing this if it's a lot of money.
I'll cover your refund, Mr.
Cool.
Matt.
He just said he'd cover my
I
refund.
would cover his refund.
No.
Nope.
Nope. No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be...
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to dignify trash talking.
Be smug and...
Smug? Smug? Matt, you've never been smug. I've been smug. You've been smug. Andrew's been smug. What does smugness have anything to do with it?
The things that he's being right now. He's already said he will cover my expenses. You don't have anything to worry about. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
Trash talking. Jackass. Oh, this is so much fun. It's so childish. It's fun. I love this country. Only in this country would people pay money to set up debates like this that end up not happening. And then, I mean, it's just so much fun. I guess we need to thank Matt for walking off and providing this type of entertainment. Well done, Andrew Wilson. Well done. You've won the debate by not even having to debate. I wonder how a debate on this topic would work with me. If he's conceding that God doesn't exist and that secular humanism has a lot of garbage ideas that he's not convinced of, I probably would say, you're right. Secular humanism has a lot of garbage ideas that I don't even agree with. Then it just is a question to degree of maybe we can find points of commonality, points of agreement that, oh, this part of secular humanism is actually pretty good. But then he's going to say, well, but that my worldview has that too. And I'll say, okay, we share that. What's next? That's how it would go. But it wouldn't go with me being offended. I'm trying to think, is there anything a person could say that would offend me to such a degree I would just up and walk out? Yeah, there is some lines that can be crossed. Like the other day, I got super mad or disappointed or upset when someone out of nowhere brought up my dead sister about would my dead sister find me funny or something? I don't know. There is a line, I guess, for everyone. I just think Matt's line is... But I guess he views trans people and his trans boyfriend, girlfriend, family, and very important. So I guess it just hurt his feelings. 91% say Palestinians should probably become atheists rather than stay Muslim. I generally did a whoa after the husband comment. Is the transcript out yet? What do they talk about if that's gone?
His entire worldview to ask him one descriptive claim about reality, and he got so upset about the descriptive reality claim, he fled the room.
Well, you're being personal about it. But...
what was personal? When did I name anybody?
Your closing statement as he walked out, I hope you and your husband have a
Oh,
good
you mean after he
day,
called me a name?
which was very personal.
When he called me a name first.
Yeah, so you're insulting his partner along with him.
No.
Why not? If he's insulting you, why don't you just direct the insult
How can
directly to
it,
him?
how can it be an insult if I'm giving you a descriptive, real, true statement? That's a real, true statement. How could you be insulted unless you know it's a lie? How?
He has a point. See, under Andrew's definition of husband, he's not lying. Under Andrew's definition of what a husband is, Andrew's telling the truth. Even trans activists have to agree with this. They just differ in definitions. This is what trans activists and trans people have to get over. That people can hear labels and definitions and disagree with them, and they have to learn to live with it and accept it.
All right. Next one coming in. Good luck to you.
And the thing is, I can't relate, of course, but if someone was to consistently, a particular individual was to consistently call me a female, a woman, I really don't think it would bother me. Because it's obviously not true in my definition, so I'm not offended. So Andrew makes a good point here. The fact that they're offended means that part of them agrees with Andrew. They wouldn't be offended if they totally disagreed. Am I wrong? Like, you're only offended by something, typically, when someone says something about you that's true, a hard truth. But if someone says something to you that's a complete lie, and let's say it's just you and them, they're talking to you, and they say something, you are X, and X is completely false. Why should it bother you? You just say, no, you're wrong, I'm not that. No, you are. Okay, well, think what you want to think. But maybe I'm just a different personality type. Maybe I'm just too strong mentally compared to some people.
Hey Andrew, I'm pretty religious myself. I tend to keep to myself, but one thing that I've always been listening to, or I can't really say the verse really.
Ask your question.
But it's had something to do along the lines of don't give pearls to swine because they wouldn't know what to do with it. Not to call anybody who doesn't believe in
I think
religion.
you just called the whole audience swine.
Yeah. Sorry, not believers, or they don't believe.
Ask your question.
So what kind of gets you fired up and want to try and tell them, your position,
So my position has a requirement in truth. It's one of the commandments of Christianity. It's one of the 4 things.
So what motivates them is Christianity.
We're in America. You can live the way you want. I do have a personal problem when you try to force it, regardless if it's, religion or secular humanism, when you try to force your beliefs into.
It's just pure insanity.
One of the ways that you mentioned that you find truth is through divine revelation.
Mm-hmm.
If 2 people have conflicting divine revelation,
Oh, good question.
how would you find truth between them?
Yeah, so that's a good question for Protestants. So Protestants, for instance.
Oh yeah, that's only a problem for Protestants because we have the Orthodox Church. that will tell you which is the correct one.
So I asked the Protestants the same exact question. If you're imbued with the Holy Spirit and you're imbued with the Holy Spirit and you're both reading the same passage and you come up with completely different answers to what that passage means, how do you know who's telling the truth? How do you know which one of you is right?
So
it's
how
the
can you
same
say
exact
that-
criticism that I have. Luckily
you say
for us,
divine
we have
revelation
church
is
history.
how you find truth?
We have church history and apostolic succession. So we
Yeah, but the church, the founding fathers of the church, Orthodox Church, still had disagreements. Is it by popular vote of the church fathers when they have disagreements?
Why would you believe them?
Actual position.
I think that he would. Do you have to go to jail when you're held criminally liable for something?
We do not. No, you do not. but
No.
No, you do not.
No.
But we do not hold children criminally liable, even under Christian ethics. I think
Right.
it's 13 years
So
old.
it passes
correct?
over to the parents. The parents go to prison for
Okay,
being
so
negligible.
even you agree with Matt that you would not hold the children themselves criminally
Well,
liable.
if you could
would
show
hold
me the
parents.
clip of Matt saying the parents should go to jail for the kids having the sex, I'd love to hear
He was
it.
not asked that question.
Yeah, but what do you think he would say if he was?
I don't know.
Right. Well,
You'd have to ask
he
him.
could have asked. He could have
He said
responded.
he doesn't support it.
He says, "You took me out of context. Why didn't he contextualize it? We could have got into it."
And I may
Oh. What a mess. Okay, I'll take some questions. I'll focus on the live stream chat here. Tag me if you have last comments, last questions, last 2 minutes. See you, Rory. Gotta remember, church history, traditions gives people hope, meaning, purpose, gives them a foundation to stand on. People like Andrew need that. We atheists, we're on quicksand. We live on the beach where the tide and oceans, waves constantly change our foundation, so we have to adapt. For many people, this gives instability and anxieties and depression. So atheism is not for everyone. You gotta be strong. You gotta be willing to admit that sometimes your feet are on sinking sand and seek higher ground. But people like Andrew, they have an advantage over me. They're on higher ground to begin with. That does not crack, does not shake. Mason, that's not how insurance works. Quick answer. Ash, yes, but to a limit. Poof. If you have been here the whole 3 hours and 25 minutes, you need a life.